And a very pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Your View, your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. The football season is finally here, and we've got a dandy all lined up for you here tonight. It's a Tri-City battle, the Newcastle Racers taking on the defending 4A state champion Tuttle Tigers. I'm Steve Marshall, alongside is Dylan Rivera, and as I said, Dylan, it seemed like it took forever for football to get here, but we're finally here, and we're ready to kick it off in just a few.
It's finally time to start. It feels like I've been waiting forever for a kickoff, and man, this one's going to be a fun one, I think. Newcastle's got that high-powered offense. Tuttle coming in off the state championship win. Last year, this was also the season opener, but it was at Newcastle, and it was a 41-7 win for Tuttle, as you know, because they win undefeated, so you knew they were going to win that one. But it should be a fun one today. I think it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle measures up against the state champions.
Well, and of course, these two teams, as we said, both in that Tri-City area, which is an exploding section of the Oklahoma City, or just outside of the Oklahoma City area, just growing and growing. And these two schools, more than likely, it might be 2 years, it might be 3 years, but you'll be talking about them quite possibly in Class 5A and not in 4A, where they reside right now. As Dylan said, Tuttle did win the state championship last year. They also won state in 2001 and 2005. Brad Ballard is the head coach, and they have really done a great job under Ballard. In his last 4 seasons, 42-6 is their combined record. On the other side for Newcastle, Jeff Brickman, who left Southmore, came over here and kind of jump-started the Newcastle program. Didn't have a great year last year. There were 3-7 on the season. He is in his third year after a combination of 3-7 years, 6-14 overall in his stay at Newcastle, and they're looking to get off the right foot. It's going to be tough tonight against Tuttle, but you can bet that he has his players all ready to go.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. Brickman knows how to run an offense. I kind of went into a little bit of research on what he's done, and man, at OBU, he was an offensive coordinator there and had them doing 43.4 points per game. That was in 2014, and then 2015, 2016, like you said, he was at Southmore, and he led them to an average of 41.7 points per game. And then last year, or I guess it would have been 2 years ago, with Newcastle, had them finish first in 4A in scoring and in total offense. So his offenses are going to be efficient, I can tell you that much.
When you look at Class 4A high school football and you look at the rankings coming into the season, different rankings, and we'll use the ones that come out from the Oklahoman. Tuttle is preseason number 1 again. They are predicted to defend their state championship. Right behind them, though, Dylan, very interestingly, Bethany. Those two teams met last year in the state championship game.
Yeah, and that one was an interesting one. It ended up just being a 1-touchdown game by the time that final whistle blew, and Tuttle obviously comes out as champions, but Bethany definitely took it to them. I think this year you got to keep your eye on Bethany, because they can easily steal another championship and make it to where it's another year of Tuttle and Bethany in the state championship final. But at the same time, I think Bethany could end up stealing it. Like I said, they've got a lot of talent over there.
You've already seen the teams taking the field. The referees are gathered around. Brand new field at Hinkle Field. The field named after the late Bill Hinkle, who was with the Tuttle school system all the way up until 1994 when he retired, but he then kept working and kept maintaining the field all the way up until the year 2000. Now they've installed the artificial surface that you can see. It looks just absolutely wonderful down there, and we're not too far away from starting. The rest of the top 10 in Class 4A has Wagner at number 3, Podo at 4, followed by Clinton, Broken Bow, Weatherford, Blanchard, and Bristow, and then Hilldale in the top 10. Newcastle in the 32 teams Class 4A, they are registered and they're counted in right now as the number 23 or number 20 school in that list. And again, it should be a great contest here tonight. When you talk about the size of these schools, they are the 77th. Newcastle is the 77th largest school in the state with 606 on their average daily membership. Not far behind, just 12 students behind, is Tuttle. They are the 80th largest school at 594. So they take the top 32 teams in Class 6A, the next 32 in Class 5A. That combines for 64 teams. So you can see if the 5A and 6A are all the way up to 64, and Newcastle at 77. They're not far away from cracking into Class 5A. May not happen next year or even the year after that, but it's bound to happen before too very long. Newcastle is set to kick it off. Great night for football after a lot of rain, and they fake the kick, and they'll reset, and we'll be ready to go here. Pleasant evening after so many days where it was still 100 degrees at this time of the day.
Well, that and then the rain this morning, that was terrible out there, man. It was coming down hard, and obviously it's let up now, and we got a great evening for football.
All right, Tuttle on the kick return, breaks a couple of tackles, getting to the outside and going down the sideline, and he's finally tackled at about the 43-yard line in Newcastle territory, and a nice return for the Tuttle Tigers, and they'll start with some good field position. When it looked like he was trapped, they actually had a bobble on the opening kick. Were able to recover it, scoot to the outside, and pick up some good yardage. They'll actually spot the ball at the 42-yard line in Newcastle territory.
That was Ethan Paxton on the return. He's one of my 3 players on Tuttle that I say you need to watch during this game. It's Parker Ross, Tristan Truelove, and Ethan Paxton. Those guys are going to make a lot of big plays for the Tigers, and they're part of why they won the state championship last year.
Here's a running play to the outside. Again, good running room. First down all the way inside the 25. Going to spot him down at the 23-yard line. So the kickoff and then a nice running play to the right side and a quick start here for Tuttle.
Obviously, that's just the start you want, entering into a new season and welcoming in the new field, the new turf. That's kind of just what you want to get off to, is those 2 big plays. Now see if they can pick up another big gain here.
Cole Battles is the quarterback, going to keep it himself this time and actually going to lose yardage. The tackle made in there by number 58 for Newcastle. That's Seth Dillman, among the first ones to arrive on the scene for Newcastle. Short loss on the play, and that'll bring up second down. Let's call it 12. As we're just underway, Tuttle and Newcastle, your Oklahoma Ford Dealers game of the week, game 1 of the high school football season. Battles takes the snap, drops to throw. We've got a whistle and a flag on the far side. And the referee says illegal start. And so they'll assess the 5-yard penalty, scoot them back just a little bit. And that'll keep it at about second down and close to 16 or 17 yards coming up. Trips to the left side, top of your screen. Battles from the shotgun, takes the snap, looks down the middle, finds a receiver, and a good defensive play as he got a hand on it, not allowing him to come away with the catch. That's number 27 out there, Braden Cruz, 5'10", 135, and he is a defensive back for the Newcastle Racers.
Right there, Cole Battles' first throw of the season. Kind of threw into some coverage there. It was a little bit of a tight window, but nearly got it in there. That was one of the biggest questions coming into this season, was this QB situation now that Carson Berryhill is gone.
Battles downfield all the way inside the 5-yard line. Receiver was wide open as he finds number 23, Parker Ross. That's his favorite target. The 5'11 senior was wide open. He found a hole in that secondary. As you take a look here again, and you can see him downfield. Just the safety to beat. Safety goes for the ball, does not make the tackle, and so it's going to be first and goal to go for the Tuttle Tigers. Handoff straight up the middle into the end zone, and good for the touchdown. Taking it in, number 28, that's Tristan Truelove, as he gets the first points of the game, first points of the season for the Tuttle Tigers.
Yeah, that full house pistol formation, handed off to the running back. Just let him follow his fullbacks in there. Big touchdown for the Tuttle Tigers. Big touchdown for Truelove.
Did not take them too very long. Just a minute and a half off the clock. Snap back, ball down, extra point attempt is on the way. It is up, and it is good. So Tuttle wastes no time on their very first possession. They march it down the field, get into the end zone. The extra point is good. The Tigers lead the Racers 7-0 on Your View. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers game of the week. We'll be back.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back again, everybody. Your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Steve Marshall, Dylan Rivera, the rest of the crew from your view, bringing you the exciting action of this 4A opener. The defending state champion Tuttle Tigers get the ball first. They march it down the field and put it in the end zone. Took them just about a minute and a half to get the 6 points, and then the extra point attempt was good as well. And so now the Tigers are set to kick it away to Newcastle. Good crowd on hand, as you would expect, between these two rivals. Approach the football, send it back. It's going to be taken just inside the 5-yard line, looking for some running room. Tied up and taken out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. On the return, number 14 is Tegan Jordan. And that's where the Racers will put it in play, 1st and 10.
Well, and one of my biggest players that I think you're going to need to watch for Newcastle is definitely Solomon Granger. I think you and I are in agreement on that. But one of the biggest storylines actually is now, I say that and then I have to retract it because Solomon Granger's not going to be playing tonight. He's actually out for, I believe, the whole season, if I may be right. And so it'll be interesting to see this running back situation for Newcastle here tonight.
They expect Casey Porter to get the majority of the calls from that position. First play, running play to the left. And nowhere to go for the quarterback, Andrew Schumard, as he keeps it on the opening carry. Maybe got a yard, 2 perhaps, but nothing more.
Well, that Solomon Granger loss is going to be a big one for Newcastle. He rushed for 784 yards last year, got 247 receiving yards. He was a big-name player for them, and part of the reason that they got those 3 wins. And so having a backup fill that role is going to be a little tough. We'll see how it goes.
Dropping the throw, little swing pass to the outside. Tuttle reads it very well. Loss on the play as they're going to take him out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. So good defense. Tuttle was not fooled on that play-action pass as they faked the handoff and then threw the little bubble screen out to the side, but defender was right there to bring him down. See the clock in the background. And here we go, big 3rd down coming up for the Racers. Dropping the throw, looking downfield, looking way downfield. Has a receiver, but overthrows him. The pass intended out there for Tegan Jordan. He had his man beat, Dylan, and if he just takes a little off that throw, he's able to run under that, and who knows how far he could have gone.
Well, how about not being scared to take a shot on the first possession here? Obviously, it's 3rd and 10, so you need to get that yardage. You need to at least take maybe a 12 to 15-yard shot, but right there going from one 30 to the other 30. So that was a big play attempt, and like you said, he was at least on target a little bit, but at the same time, he needed to pull that back just a tad so that way that wide receiver could run under it. Still a big play opportunity there, and we'll have to keep our eyes on that wide receiver situation over there with Tegan Jordan. He seems like he's quite the talent.
Punting situation, Tuttle gets away from the football. It's going to hit it about the 45-yard line in Tuttle territory, roll out of bounds at the 44, and that's where the Tigers will put it in play, 1st and 10. So for Newcastle, if they're going to make some type of a statement, you just can't have Tuttle run the ball down the field the way they did the first set of downs and get into the end zone. And you got to flex your muscle here a little bit and show that you're going to be able to stick with this Tuttle Tiger team. Otherwise, the Tigers know how to turn it on and to put the pedal to the metal, as they say.
Well, not only that, but I mentioned a lot earlier on that I think Newcastle's strength is on the offensive side of the ball. So you're putting your defense back on their heels when you're not making plays on the offensive end.
The give gets back to the line of scrimmage and really not much more. Good job defensively that time as they closed him off. Looked like he wanted to go to the outside, got turned back in towards the middle. And a good job by that defense up front for the Newcastle Racers. We'll identify some of those guys for you as we go along throughout our webcast here this evening. Pickup of about 2 or 3 here. And again, not much there. In on the tackle, Lyndon Evans wears number 72 out there, also number 77. Big guy is Arnold Portillo, Jason Wilson up front. So is Seth Dillman and Cruz Vargas for the Racers. 3rd and long coming up. Going to roll it out to the left side, looking downfield, throwing against his body. That's always a tough throw. The pass goes incomplete. No flags on the play.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say right before you had said, about it. It looked like he was kind of uncomfortable letting that go. It was going against his body, scrolling out to that left side, and he's, a right-handed thrower, and whenever you're throwing kind of off that left foot, it's a really uncomfortable throw. I'm surprised he was really even able to get it that far down the field. But a pretty good effort, but nonetheless, it's 4th and 8.
Punting situation for the Tigers. Line of scrimmage is their own 46-yard line. Taking care of the kicking duties for Tuttle is number 34, and that's Bodie Brooks. Return going to get across the 20 to about the 21, perhaps the 22-yard line, and that's where the Racers will put it in play for their second series. As our score stands at 7-0 here in the early going. Tuttle took the opening kickoff, marched right down the field, got the 7 points. Newcastle went 3 and out, and then Tuttle, on their second possession, they were forced into a 3 and out situation.
One of those players that I said to watch earlier on was Ethan Paxton. He plays safety for this defense, so he's out there in the secondary. You may not even see him on the screen half the time. But I tell you what, you need to keep your eyes on him because he makes a lot of big plays back there. He makes a lot of tackles. I want to say he had somewhere in the high 30s last year. I may be wrong on that, but it was definitely a great season for him last year.
Running play is maybe going to get to the line of scrimmage, but not much more than that. That Tuttle defense has always been very tough to run against. If you know anything about, not just high school football, but high school wrestling, there's bound to be a couple wrestlers on this team, and Tuttle has won the state championship in team wrestling and dual state. I want to say it's for 9 and 10 consecutive years in those 2 different. And so they have some of those football players that are out there playing wrestlers that are also out there playing football as well. Running play to the left side, nowhere to go. As Andrew Schumard looking for a hole, a gap, just can't find it against that tough Tuttle defense.
Yeah, we talked about those wrestlers. Carson Berryhill is one that we've mentioned, obviously leaving a little bit of a hole in the backfield at the quarterback position, but now he's wrestling at OU. I think you mentioned that earlier. And he went like 40-1 in high school. I mean, he was a ultra talent both on the football field and on the wrestling mat.
Motion coming to the near side on this 3rd and long play. Going to keep it. Looked like he may have gotten a face mask in there. Don't see a flag, however. And that'll bring up another 3 and out type situation. I did notice also the wrestling coach is Matt Serber. His son Luke is the backup quarterback on the team.
I also know that Dylan Ballard is on the team. That's head coach's son, Coach Ballard's son.
So not much doing on offense yet. Now you have to take care of your special teams. Snap is back in good shape. The kick is away. It's a low line drive type kick. Going to be fielded at the 42-yard line. Running room and lots of it down the sideline, racing for the end zone. Going to get knocked out of bounds inside the 20, all the way down to the 19-yard line. A nice return for the Tuttle Tigers, number 24. That's Ethan Paxton. And there is a flag back around midfield, so this one's coming back. Was that a sideline warning?
I think that was, yeah. Either that or it's a drink break maybe.
But I don't know what the flag is about. Here comes. A lot of times during these early season games, they will have mandatory water breaks. But they did throw a flag, and it looks as though they're bringing it back. But I wasn't real sure on the on exactly what the referee was trying to indicate the penalty was for. Here it is again. Looks like an illegal block in the back, perhaps.
That's what I was thinking, block in the back.
So a great return that had it deep into Newcastle territory. Instead, they'll spot the ball at the 41-yard line, 1st and 10. After these guys take their water break, it'll be Tuttle football once again, leading it here early, 7-0, with still just under 6 minutes left to go in this first quarter of play. Well, this is what's known as 0 week throughout the state of Oklahoma, or week 0, where teams are given the option. You can go ahead and schedule a game to play this week. I know a lot of the big schools, especially on the east side, Broken Arrow, Jenks, Union, I think they all went down to Mansfield, Texas to play this weekend. Edmond North was playing, I believe, at UConn tonight. There were some other smaller school games. And for these two teams here tonight, that means they'll have one of those weeks off in September. And as I remember looking at their schedules, it looks like one or both are going to take that week off before district play starts so they can get healthy and get everybody back. Running play after the timeout, handoff there, goes to number 44. That is Zane Vasquez, 6 foot, 190-pound senior. Picks up a couple on the play. Good job by the Newcastle defense.
I like the spin move there. He was cutting to that right side. Looked like he was running out of room. His blockers were running out of space to keep blocking. And he spun back around to the inside, got a couple more yards that way, and that's a good move there.
Cole battles, hands Tristan Truelove, left side. Looks for some running room. He'll pick up about 6 or 7. Still be about a yard, 2 yards shy of that first down marker.
Jacob Bruns coming in from the secondary to make that tackle. Coming in from that left side, too, so he had to make a long run to get in there and get on that play. And a good job by him.
A little confusion on the defensive front for Newcastle, just getting into the lineup. Handoff right side, bounces it out. Had him for a second, lost him, and I think he got enough for the first down. Did Tristan Truelove, and it's going to be just on the Tuttle side of midfield, 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
Yeah, I couldn't quite bring him down on that first contact, and that's just something that you're going to see with Tristan Truelove. Talk about, these wrestling boys being big. I don't know if Tristan Truelove is one of those wrestlers, but he's definitely a big boy, and so he'll go through you if he has to.
So a new set of downs for the Tigers, 1st and 10. Handoff again, Truelove, 3-4 yards perhaps as he gets into Newcastle territory, finally taken down at about the 46-yard line. You can see the fans along the fence line here. Place is packed, as it is for just about every Tuttle home game. Pass play again, going to put it up deep, looking for the wide receiver. Nice catch over the shoulder, and that's going to go for 6. As long as there's no flags on the play, Joseph Yarborough with the reception and a perfectly thrown pass. Well, let's go back and see. They are discussing it. It is a hold against the defense. That will be declined and touchdown Tuttle.
Yeah, and like you said, Cole Battles just beautifully put that on the outside shoulder. Obviously, right there, right off the line, Joseph Yarborough beats the defender, takes probably a couple of good moves, and probably shoves him off, takes off running, and he's going to beat you in a track race. Put it out there on that outside shoulder, and it's an easy touchdown.
Nice throw, great catch. 6 points for the Tigers, now on for the extra point attempt. Snap is back, ball is down, kick is on the way, and it is good, as the kick is good there by, appropriately enough, number 27, Bryce Legg. 14-0 our score. Tuttle on top of Newcastle. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week on your view. We'll take a timeout, come back with the kickoff when we return.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me when he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back to Hinkle Field, the home of the Tuttle Tigers. And the Tigers have put 2 scores on the board with just over 4 minutes left to play here in this first quarter, leading Newcastle by a score of 14-0. Nice pass play there as they were able to take it in for the 6 points. Extra point was good. And here comes the ensuing kickoff, as Bryce puts a good leg into it. Couldn't pass that up. Ball taken at about the 15-yard line, just trying to find some running room. Gets it out across the 20 to the 25, out to about the 27-yard line. And that's where Newcastle will have it 1st and 10.
Well, that one right there, it was close to one of those new talking points for those referees. Is that horse collar tackle is one thing that they're keeping an eye on. A little bit of rules changing, and the referees are going to make sure that they're calling those this year. And that one was awfully close. It looked like it was just kind of like a high back right there, but if you pull by the horse collar now, it's going to be instantly a flag, and so those players have got to be wary of that now too.
So the Racers now going to try to get something going offensively. And instead it looks like they're going to take a timeout, as either they didn't have the right personnel out there or not sure exactly what they were going to do. We'll take a timeout ourselves and come back. Your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Stay with us.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Ball is spotted at the Newcastle 27-yard line. 1st and 10 as they come out and try to get something going on the offensive side of the football. Tuttle well known for their defense, their physical style of play. And they've also found themselves in offense, as they've only won 3 state championships in 01, 05, and last year, but they are always right in the mix every single season. Here's a little wide receiver screen that's going to pick up some nice yardage close to the first down marker. Pass is taken in there by number 3 for the Newcastle Racers, as he is able to get the reception there. That would be Jake Cox.
Well, a good little pass out to him, and then a 10-yard run or so. But one thing that came in handy there was that block by Ryan Barker. He kind of almost ate up 2 defenders in his one-man block there.
Dropping the throw on 2nd down and short. Has a receiver wide open and just overshoots him off the fingertips. The intended receiver out there, again, was Tegan Jordan. You said it earlier, Dylan, that they just overshot him on that earlier pass where he had gotten wide open. It looks like he's going to be a handful to cover all night long because he was open again.
Yeah, Tegan Jordan's clearly going to be a mismatch out there on the outside, and you got to believe that Schumard's going to be looking at him all game long, especially in those situations where they really need a big play. And right there, goes at him again, just a hair too far out there for him.
Trips to the top of your screen. 3rd down 3 for the Racers. Quick pass, caught. Going to be enough for the first down. Good execution there. Didn't need a lot. They got what they needed, however, as the pass was complete there to Casey Porter. As I talked with Coach Brickman earlier today, asking him who was going to be the replacement for Granger, he felt like Porter would be the guy. He's more of a wide receiver type, but thought he would also get some of the carries at the running back position, although they haven't, I don't remember calling his name so far here early. Empty backfield this time. Quarterback Schumard dropping the throw, looking for somebody to get open, finally just throws it, gets rid of it. Pass goes incomplete. Couldn't find anybody. Good pressure by the Tiger defense.
Well, what looked smart there was he didn't obviously go for any sort of just chuck it out of bounds type of throw, and he didn't even throw it into coverage. It was like he put it out just to where if it was to be caught, it would have just been in the reach of his receiver, and not any defender had a shot at it. So obviously not a good throw, and he's just trying to get rid of it because of the pressure, but at the same time, makes a good effort to at least put it somewhere where his receiver might be able to make a play on it.
2nd down 10 for the Racers from their own 37-yard line. Newcastle shows blitz, keeper, good call there. Nice running room down the far side, 1st down and then some. On a nice call, a nice read there by Andrew Schumard, the junior quarterback. Found a big hole after he faked to the fullback and picks up the first down and a whole lot more.
You think these players don't respect this quarterback right here? That long run, first of all, as a quarterback to run the football, that's one thing that a lot of quarterbacks can say, I don't know about that. Look at how many players went up and patted him on the head right after that long run. Maybe that's something that Newcastle just needs to spark this offense, is a big play like that. We'll see what happens.
Schumard now also in the backfield with him is Casey Porter. Fakes to Porter. Schumard can't find anybody and wisely chucks that one out of bounds also. So that'll stop the clock. Just under 3 minutes left to go here in this first quarter of play. Tuttle's gotten on the scoreboard twice. Short touchdown run, long touchdown pass. Newcastle, right now, the first time they've been on Tuttle's side of the field. Looks like there was a penalty on the play. And a big penalty.
Yeah, I didn't see what the call was.
I'm sure we're going to get that. Or so I thought.
One thing I think is interesting is the three biggest plays we've seen here for Newcastle in this possession have been those two screens and the quarterback run, but I haven't really seen them hand it off to a running back at all this game.
No.
Right on cue, maybe that's why.
Nowhere to go for Casey Porter. Good job defensively up front. It's number 48 for Tuttle, one of the first guys there. Am I seeing 48 or 46? Because I don't have a 48 on my roster.
Maybe 46 then.
Okay, we'll give it to 46, and I don't have a 46 either.
Let's see if I got it.
Okay. That happens sometimes. It is 48. That much I can see. Either way, second down and 10 for the Racers. Here comes the blitz. Schumard avoids, throws the pass, tried to hook up with Porter. Pass a little too tall, incomplete. And that'll bring up a third down situation, third and about 15.
They're definitely going to have to work with this running back on picking up those linebacker blitzes. 44, Zane Vasquez was in there in a hurry. Puts that pressure on Schumard, and as you've seen, he's had to keep scrolling out of the pocket and keep kind of throwing on the run. It's making it uncomfortable for him, and he's getting closer to those sidelines, and as you know, that's just another defender. So it's putting him in a tough situation. They're going to have to learn to block better.
Porter sets up to the right of the quarterback, Schumard. Third down, 14. Straight keeper up the middle, dives forward, gets to the original line of scrimmage. But that's about it. And that'll bring up a fourth down situation. You got to go for it territory here. You're deep inside, but, well, I was about to say probably not field goal range, but that's what they're going to try to put up here. Zach Crook, 6'3", 160. He's their kicker. They'll put it down at the 31, a 41-yard field goal attempt. Snap back, ball down. Looked like they had a little bit of trouble with the snap. It will not make it to the uprights, and the kick is no good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there in the transition from the snap to the holder, but it looked like he had to spin the ball right at the last second and try to get it to where that kicker likes it, and obviously not in time. Ball falls just a little bit shy of that crossbar.
So Newcastle threatens but is unable to get points on the board. With just about a minute and a half left to go here in this first quarter play, Tuttle on top, leading at 14-0.
And you see what the effects of neutralizing that Newcastle offense does. Puts them in this hole where now it's 14-0 and Tuttle's got the ball back. It could start to be a really deep hole for the Racers here, and they're going to have to try to get a stop here if they want to stay in this.
Here comes the blitz. Pass is thrown and caught. Tackled immediately. Nice job coming up and making the play defensively. That is Zachary Roberts. Had some good pressure in that backfield, but unable to get quite to the quarterback. Lyndon Evans, number 72, applying that pressure. Good size front for the Newcastle Racers. Trying to hold down these Tuttle Tigers. Handoff, True Love up the middle. A yard, maybe two, but nothing more than that. Big number 77 on the bottom of the pile there. Arnold Portillo.
Man, it looked like the offensive line kind of collapsed on that when the two guards, both the right and left, were kind of switching sides, maybe trying to confuse the defenders, and they ran into each other in the backfield, just kind of creating a log jam. True Love's got nowhere to go, and that defensive pressure gets in the backfield.
Dropping the throw, going over the middle, wide open once again, and a good job by the secondary coming up, making the play. Maybe getting a little hand on the ball was Tegan Jordan.
Yeah, from my angle, it didn't look so much like a hand. It looked like his helmet hit it. But a good job diving in and making the play, getting the stop. Brings up 3rd and 10.
Big down here for Newcastle's defense as they need a stop. Taking it, rolling to the right side. Pass had a receiver open but could not hook up with Yarborough. He caught the earlier pass. And that one incomplete, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation, a likely punting situation for the Tigers.
And that's just what Newcastle needs to not only stop them, but stop them down here shy of the 35-yard line. A bad punt here, you could end up even near midfield.
Bodie Brooks takes care of the kicking duties. Gets the snap back in fine shape, gets it away. High kick that Newcastle is going to let bounce. It's going to roll and stop dead just at the 30-yard line. So 1st and 10, that's where the Racers will put it in play. About 30 seconds left to go here in this first quarter of play. Still a whole second quarter to go. I want to remind everybody our game next week will feature the that'll be Seminole and Hera is our Your View game of the week. Seminole and Hera. And we'll tell you about some of the other games that'll be coming your way. Edmond Santa Fe at Mustang should be an interesting contest. We'll have that for you on week 3. Make sure you go to yourview.com to check the schedule to see if we've got your team on our schedule for this year. Trying to get to the outside, no way that's going to happen. Good job defensively as they really strung them out. Coming up making the tackle was Luke Serber, number 13.
How about that sack? Again, flushed out of the pocket, moving to the right, and then wraps him up beautifully, brings him down to the turf. And now we have 2nd and 15. That's a long play. And we haven't seen Newcastle be too successful on offense, so we'll see if they can get something going as this second quarter gets ready to start.
All right, we've played 1 quarter of football here at Tuttle. The Tigers leading Newcastle by a score of 14-0 right here on Your View. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. We'll be back.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
The best in Oklahoma, your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Proud to bring you all the action this year on Your View. And we are proud to be here this evening, bringing you the action between Tuttle and Newcastle. Racers with the football, looking at a 2nd and 15, first play of the second quarter. Little screen, wide receiver screen. Caught out there, not much yardage on it. Jake Cox on the reception for the Racers.
If it works once, go to it again. If it works twice, go to it again. Just keep going at it right there. Not so much yardage as the last two, but still a little bit of a gain and maybe put yourself into a territory where you don't have to make such a long throw on this 3rd down.
Well, and two, you keep running that and have even just a little success that they did right there. Then you give it the pump fake and send the guy deep and maybe trying to catch the D-back, trying to cheat a little bit. Here's a pass that's incomplete, a little too tall, intended out there for Tegan Jordan. And there's a look at the crowd here tonight. There is no place to sit. Bill Hinkle Field.
You can tell it's neon night, too. Look at all the students in the bright pink, yellow, and orange.
There you go.
Hard to miss them.
Absolutely. Great crowd on hand. And we've got an injured player down on the field, and that is Tegan Jordan.
Yeah, he's yet to get up since that missed catch there.
Looks like it's just cramps. Is it they're pushing that toe back?
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was like wincing in a lot of pain or anything,
Yeah.
or in any way looked like he was majorly hurt. But obviously we don't want to make any assumptions.
Sure.
It could be, something more serious. But at the same time, that pass was a little bit too tall for him and kind of put him in that situation where he's up in the air and you got a defender coming up behind you. It's one of those dangerous situations that we talk about in football.
So stoppage in the play here after the first play in this second quarter. Tegan Jordan is the player that's down on the field right now. We're hoping it's just cramps, as we see a lot of that usually in the first ball game of the year, first couple ball games in some cases. Got that left leg. Yeah, it looks like it's just a cramp. He's going to jump up and shake it off.
Yeah, we're talking about the impact he's already had on this game. And I believe he's only a sophomore, if I'm doing my math right here. He graduates in 22. And so if he's just a sophomore, you got to imagine what kind of an impact he can have down the line.
As you mentioned at the top of the show, Coach Jeff Brickman, known for his offensive ingenuity, as he has coached at both the high school and the college level and enjoyed success at both in putting big points, big numbers on the board. Punting situation coming up for the Racers. Line of scrimmage is the 28-yard line. Punter stands at his own 16-yard line. Gets the snap back, angles it towards the right sideline. Going to be taken at about the 35-yard line. Low line drive kick and a nice return. Going to get it close to midfield. On the return, number 24, that's Ethan Paxton.
And I wonder if, like you said, he kind of angled it towards the sideline. I wonder if they were trying to kind of punt away from him, make him work harder for the ball. Because as we've seen on every single return, he's been able to pick up, maybe 15 yards or so on each one. So he's definitely dangerous back there and maybe trying to make their job a little bit easier.
So the Tigers come out leading at 14-0. Quarterback Cole Battles has already had a pretty good night, sends two receivers to the top of your screen. See Tristan Truelove there in the backfield. Truelove gets the carry, gets it across midfield, lowers his head and picks up another 2 yards on the play, gain of about 3, perhaps 4. And that'll bring up a second down and 6.
One thing I don't like that I'm seeing from this Newcastle defense, it kind of seems like once the defenders, whether it be a linebacker or a defensive lineman, once they get kind of blocked out of the play, they kind of quit on it. I've seen this more than a couple of times, and they've really got to stay with it and keep up and try to make a tackle there.
Going downfield, got a receiver who's wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown as he finds Mason Stokes. Talented wide receiver who showed so much promise last year but was injured, I believe, in week 3 or 4. As you take a look again, and Cole Battles put that one right on the numbers.
Yeah, Mason Stokes, you were telling me about him before the game. You were saying he may be someone we've got to watch. And right here, opens up the season with a touchdown in the first game. And, man, he was just blowing by his defender. That's not the first time we've seen that tonight either.
Yeah, there was nobody within 10 yards. Extra point attempt again on the way. Kind of a stutter step kick. It's still good as it goes through the uprights by Bryce Legg. So the Tigers don't waste much time. They get another touchdown on the board with just over 11 minutes left to go in our first half of play. Tigers leading Newcastle 21-0 on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back, everybody. Tuttle Tigers get another touchdown as they are able to hook up there on the play. Cole Battles, quarterback, getting another touchdown pass as he was able to hook up there with, now I can't find his name.
Mason Stokes.
Yes. Kick here is going to land out of bounds.
A smart play there from the return man, Jake Cox. Looked like he was about to catch it and then was like, wait a second. This may be going out of bounds. We may get a penalty out of this. So he let it go, and sure enough, it bounces past that white border. And now they'll be gaining some yardage automatically.
Beautiful evening outside after all these hot temperatures. And then, of course, as Dylan mentioned, the heavy rains that came last night. We had rain earlier in the week, something that we missed throughout the entire month of July, it seemed, and all of August until just this week. But a little nicer than it was certainly earlier.
Yeah, some scary storms earlier this week.
Right.
Hope that everybody's all right out there.
So a lot of limb damage. Folks have gotten their chainsaws out and put all their extra lumber that they accrued over the storm season. Running play. Now passing and looking downfield. Still looking. Looks like he started to tuck it and just keep it. And the pass was broken up on the near side of the field. Pass is incomplete.
Yeah, and he keeps going towards that sideline every single time, and it's beginning to occur to me, is it the offensive line isn't doing their job and he's being flushed out every time? Or maybe at this point, do we ask ourselves, is it part of the game plan that he's going out of the pocket every single time? Maybe he's more comfortable throwing on the run or something like that. But it seems like every single time they snap the ball, give it a couple seconds and he's out to the side.
I think a lot of that credit has to go to how good Tuttle's defense is. 2nd down and 10. Racers hand it to Porter. Now the double reverse. Coming to the near side of the field. Looking for a block. Does not get one. And Jake Cox really not able to get much yardage on that at all.
Yeah, swallowed up by 2 different Tuttle Tigers there. And I was wondering if we were getting ready to see the Philly special as that quarterback was kind of coming around.
Yep.
I was thinking it might happen. But just a run play there. A little bit of a jet sweep. And he's, like I said, swallowed up by those defenders.
Good look at the offensive line for the Tuttle Tiger, or for the Newcastle Racers. Now facing a 3rd down and long situation. 3-man front for Tuttle. They rush 5. Pass is thrown downfield, caught complete. Spotted about the 47-yard line, 46-yard line.
Stays in the pocket to make that throw that time too. Stepped up in the pocket and made that one. And look at that, a 1st down play. And of course, who's the receiver on the end? Tegan Jordan is the receiver that he goes to, and saw him go down just a few minutes ago, but right back out there, and he's right back in the mix.
Line of scrimmage now the 46-yard line. Quarterback Andrew Schumart. Motion to the left goes Casey Porter. Fake the handoff, and quarterback keeper, and there's nowhere to go. Number 50, C.J. Connor for the Tigers. Was not fooled on that play, and he drops the running back in his steps and drops him for a short loss on the play.
And he blew right past Jason Wilson. That was Jason Wilson's blocking assignment. Giving him a couple of quick stutter steps, goes right by him to the right side, ends up in the backfield, makes a big hit on the quarterback, trying to make a scramble there.
Racers knocked on the door once, attempted a 41-yard field goal that was short of its distance. That's the only time they've really threatened. Now a flag is thrown by the near side linesman. He'll tell the referee what it is, and we'll get the interpretation here, and he says that it's going to be false start against the Racers. So not helping their own cause there. We'll make it now 2nd down and 16.
Well, it may be that packed Tuttle Tigers sideline like you talked about. A lot of fans up there in the stands. Maybe they came in and made a little bit of a play of their own right there. Line
of scrimmage is now the 39-yard line. Second down and 16 as the Racers look to the sidelines to get the play they're looking for. Two men in the backfield, but as you mentioned, they've not really handed it off very often. They do this time. Running play up the middle, has some room to run. Porter on the carry, gets out across the 40. Forward progress should get him to about the 42, 43-yard line. They're going to say the 40 really inches forward again, about the 42. Still well short of the first down, still not even to the original line of scrimmage. And that'll bring up third down.
Another one of those cases where they're running out to that right side and see, oh, well, maybe I don't have as much room as I thought I did, and then cut over to the left, make it across that field. He did a good job of breaking that first tackle, but then that second defender, that help defender, comes up, makes the big play, and now we're looking at 3rd and 3 for the Newcastle Racers.
Newcastle, straight running play. Schumard going to keep it. Got it close to the 45-yard line. That's not going to be enough, however.
And I think if you really want to get that first down yardage, you've got to sell it a little bit more. It looked like he caught it and was going to fake that it was going to be a pass. Brought it up to his shoulder for just a split second and then tucked it. You got to really sell that pass fake if you're going to try to get this defense to bite on it, because you know that the Tuttle Tigers defense is not going to be easily fooled.
That's the marker on the far side is the original line of scrimmage, so they have to go 12 yards to get that first down. And instead, they're going to take a timeout and talk about it, because they have to come away with some points here before halftime. Still about 7:20 left to go in our first half of play. All Tigers to this point, they lead Newcastle by a score of 21-0 on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back, everybody, after a short timeout. 4th down and call it 12 situation for the Racers. And you would have to think they were going to try and kick it away. You really don't want to give Newcastle a short field to work with. Not even sure you want to give them the ball back, but the way they're lined up right now, they are going to go for it. Fakes the pass, pulls it down, and runs with it. Has running room, and he's going to get the first down. Nice job. And he jumps up and says, first down. Great job by the Racers that time in kind of a broken play, as Andrew Schumard gets the necessary yardage for the first down all the way down to the Tigers' 34-yard line.
Let me take you through my thought process on that. Before the play, I was thinking kind of the same thing as you, but I thought if they're going to go for it, they must have seen something they like. They must know what they're going for here. Obviously, like we've talked about, Brickman knows what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball. So I was like, well, if they're lining up for this, they may have something planned. And right there, as I said earlier, he really needs to sell that pass fake. I don't know if he was intended to be running that whole time. A fumble in the backfield here. Only gets him maybe a loss of 2 at least, so nothing bad. But I was saying earlier he needs to really sell those pass fakes, and right there, I don't know if, like I said, it was an intended run from the start. But if it was, he really sold that pass fake, and he got those defenders out of position, able to take a run right up the middle and get that first down.
And you got an idea of what kind of speed he has in the open field, too, because he was moving downfield pretty quick.
Absolutely. He's a quick quarterback.
So a loss of 2 in the play, 2nd down and 12. Twin receivers out to both sides. Schumard dropping the throw. Blitz comes from the top of the screen. He's in trouble. Going to get rid of it, throws it. That's a great pass. He just had to lob it up there, and it's caught. And it's going to be a nice pickup of about 8 yards on the play.
I know you call St. Louis home. How about that arch on that throw right there? That one went way up in the sky. A good first down, or a third down spot here. And, man, I didn't see him making that play. He really let that one go. But nonetheless, gained some yardage, and now a much shorter third down situation.
Field awareness right there. I mean, normally you just can't throw a ball up in the air and let it hang that long, but there were no defenders over there. Everybody had committed from that top side of the screen.
You're absolutely right. Good throw. Way to, avoid that pressure. He could have just thrown it out of bounds, but instead picks up a few yards. That's a different quarterback in there. That's a taller guy.
Yeah. Handoff to Casey Porter, and Porter has running room. Breaks a tackle inside the 20. Porter inside the 15-yard line, lowers his head and gets it all the way down to the 14. 1st and 10 for the Newcastle. Oh, did they turn it over?
Yeah,
Turned it over at the end.
I thought I saw that ball come loose on his way down to the turf. A good block from Zachary Roberts, and the next thing I know, the ball's on the turf, and Tuttle's headed the other way with it.
Wow, tough break for the Racers as it looked like they were finally putting something together. And a nice run, but not able to get it going there. Kyler Maple, no, that must have been Kendall. Was it number 5 or 6 that came in at quarterback?
That was number 5.
Yeah, Kendall Rogers, 6'4", 150.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't 5'5", Kyler Maple.
Right.
He was a tall fella.
Tough break for the Racers. Now Tuttle gets it back from their own 14-yard line. Truelove comes near side. He's knocked out of bounds. See where they spot it. Going to be at about right on the 15, right on the 20-yard line. Short gain on the play. Just over 5 minutes left to go before halftime.
Yeah, another good run by Tristan Truelove, and that's what you want on first down. Gain maybe 5 yards or so, right, like he did, and put yourself in a good position for this second down play. That way, if you lose yardage, like it looks like he will here,
big yardage,
you're not in such a bad situation, I guess. But if you lose 10 yards, then you're in a bad situation.
Lyndon Evans had him first, lost him, but by then the rest of the defense had converged and dropped him for a big loss on the play, all the way back to the 11-yard line.
And you got to imagine this will be a pass play here to get up near that first down marker at least. With 4:42 on the clock and with this type of field position, Newcastle may be able to get an opportunity to score if they get a stop here.
Pressure, has to roll out to the right side, throws downfield. The pass is incomplete. Intended for Yarborough, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation. Well, do you let him kick it and just assume that you're going to get good field position, or do you maybe try to, send everybody in there and get a block and special teams touchdown?
Well, I'd send everybody at it, because even if you don't get the block, if you create enough pressure for a bad kick, you may end up still getting some pretty good field position out of it.
See the Tuttle special teams play. Kicks it right from the goal line. A quick kick away. Bounces out of bounds at about the 41, 42-yard line. Good field position for the Racers with about 4.5 minutes left to go here in this first half. Tuttle leading at 21-0, but a good opportunity, probably the best opportunity right now, starting field position inside Tuttle territory.
Well, and the worst thing about it is it looked like Newcastle had some momentum moving down the field. Got that big first down run from the quarterback, and then that fumble kind of just slows it all down, and it kind of, brings you down almost as you're walking down to that sideline. And now getting the ball right back, you got to clear your head of that and go back out there and attack that defense once again, because if you can make up that same kind of yardage as you did last time out, you're definitely going to find the end zone.
So another water officials timeout right now. Want to make sure everybody stays as hydrated as possible. I know it was before your days, Dylan, but to think back to the 1995 Sooners and Coach Howard Schnellenberger not allowing his players to have water. If he did try to do that today, they'd throw him in jail.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a much different game nowadays than it was back then.
So good field position from the 41-yard line. Newcastle. Quick toss, little screen pass. Good job, good execution there. Pass complete. They get it out there to Jake Cox and another first down.
I like that screen pass. That one looked like it was a little bit different rather than just kind of quickly putting it out there and defense is all right there. It looked like they kind of sent the other wide receiver, that tall number 5 we were talking about earlier. They sent Kendall Rogers up a little bit, made it look like maybe it was an actual pass play here, and then sending that screen pass out there.
This time he goes for the end zone. Little contact down there. Looking for a flag is Jake Cox. I don't see any out there, so incomplete pass. Cox is still begging, asking for it, but doesn't look like he's going to get any help.
I'm right there with Jake Cox. I thought there was enough contact to definitely warrant one. Must have been just in time because it looked like I said, there was enough contact at least. So he may have just hit him right as he touched the ball, and the refs were right there on it. That back judge was right there just a few yards away, so I'm going to assume that he was right on the call.
Handoff right side and nowhere to go whatsoever for Casey Porter on that play. Dropped in his tracks. Clock now goes under 4 minutes left to play here in this first half.
Zane Vasquez with the tackle, and he's been a big part of this Tuttle Tigers defense. But right here, we're going to see a penalty marker, and we'll see what happens here. I don't know if maybe it was against the defense in some sort of fashion.
So the clock is stopped as we near halftime here. We'll try to update you with what few scores there are. Again, there are not too many games being played this week. So penalty called against Newcastle. They're talking to Newcastle. I guess they're just asking for explanation on the infraction. Not sure that I understood it myself.
That's a big one, though. Brought him way back. 3rd and 27.
Yeah, that's a killer right there. And it looks like we've got a timeout on the field with just about 3.5 minutes left to go before halftime. Tuttle Tigers on top of the Newcastle Racers, 21-0 in your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back, everybody. Along with Dylan Rivera, I'm Steve Marshall. Just about 3.5 minutes left to go here in this first half. Tuttle has the best of it right now, leading Newcastle by a 21-0 score. Newcastle has the football, but they got a long way to go after a costly penalty. Showing right now that they need 27 yards on this third down play.
3rd and a country mile is what that is.
That is no doubt about that. So we'll see what they call here.
Well, and the last time they had a long 3rd down like that, it was that, I guess it really was a 4th down, was that quarterback scramble up the middle, kind of made that pass fake and then ran for, I want to say it was maybe like 15, 16 yards. But that definitely wasn't a 3rd and 27 situation where you got a long way to go.
So a little discussion going on here. Referees coming to both sides and giving an explanation and not even quite sure what the discussion was about. But we are set to resume play. Going to throw it downfield. A couple defenders there trying to get the ball once again in the hands of Tegan Jordan, but that pass goes incomplete, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation.
And I think one of the smartest things that I've seen that Tuttle has done tonight just happened right there is it looked like they ran a QB spy type of defense. They had one of those linebackers just locked in on that quarterback. So if he tried to scramble out of that pocket and get a big gain, that linebacker was there ready to meet him just outside the pocket.
Lined up as though they're going for it. Andrew Schumard needing 27 here. Fakes the handoff, rolls it out to his left side. Going downfield, has plenty of time, has a receiver that's open. A diving effort, just can't hang on. Would have been a spectacular catch, but Cox just couldn't get it in. As you take a look at the replay right there, well thrown, just a little bit too far, Dylan.
Yeah, that, and then I love the misdirection by the offensive line. We've seen him put balls just a tiny bit too far out there for his receivers, and man, we're talking about one of the plays of the year if he brings that one in.
That was going to be OBJ one-handed snag type catch.
Absolutely. Diving down, grab it with one hand right there within that 5-yard line.
But instead, the ball goes over to Tuttle, and now they've got pretty good field position to try to add to their 21-point lead. Running play, tripped up from behind. Nice effort there by Jason Wilson, number 20. Diving tackle. Otherwise, he's going to run for about 20 more.
Well, we've seen these quarterbacks are definitely very mobile here in this game. Both of them can really pick up yards on the ground or with their arm. So you've got to keep your eyes on them when they're in that backfield. If they start to tuck it, you've got to be ready as a defender to keep up with them.
Second down. Running play left side. Still going. Still on his feet. Finally taken down, and then a flag is thrown in late. And we've got one of the racers is down, and they're calling for some help there. Don't know if it's just cramps. You're hoping that's what it is. And that's it, boy, those big guys. And I say this every year. Every time I've ever had a leg cramp, I immediately jump up and start running around on it to try to loosen it up and shake it free. It's always worked for me, but I guess there's possible damage that they can do. Maybe that explains my lack of being able to get airborne very well.
I was going to say, I don't think they advise you to do that. So.
It's always what we did.
How about that sportsmanship, though? Coach Ballard was actually the one out there going out and stretching him at first. That's top-notch sportsmanship from 4A's Coach of the Year last year.
So Lyndon Evans limping off. Hope that he's going to be all right and get back in the contest here. Big number 72 for the Newcastle Racers. And again, you get an idea of the crowd here tonight at Bill Hinkle Field.
And one of the tiniest details you can see right under Bill Hinkle Field, it says Tuttle State Champions. And right there they've got a third one up now. And man, it was a great year last year for them, 14-0. Coming into this season ranked number 1, like you talked about. One thing that I thought was interesting, I actually found this little statistic on, I want to say it was the Oklahoman. Most state titles last year, Bishop Kelly as a whole, as a school district, finished with 7. Tuttle Tigers had 6. And then number 3, Broken Arrow.
There you go.
Finished with 4.
Knew you'd get your Tigers in there somehow.
Exactly. Got to sneak them in somewhere.
So I know they won dual state, baseball, softball, football, and I think they had some academic champions, but I could be leaving one of the sports out as well. That's an impressive school year.
It is. Something to talk about for years to come.
Handoff, True Love. Gets inside the 40-yard line. As Tuttle trying to use the clock, but also get more points on the board and extend their 21-point lead.
Well, we've seen the last couple of times out for Tuttle. Newcastle's actually done a decent job of defending them, getting a couple of stops here in this second quarter, but at the same time, already have 21 points on the board. You wonder if it's just a matter of time.
There's a pass that's complete downfield to about the 23-yard line, hooking up there with Mason Stokes again.
Yeah, Mason Stokes is a tall receiver, too. You can hit him upstairs, and he'll still catch that ball. He's got to be hanging out around 6'4", 6'5". He's a tall guy out there.
Yep.
And one thing is we've already seen these defensive backs have had a tough time with the receivers. If you can beat them in a foot race and you got the height on them, that's going to be tough to stop.
Clock goes under, 2 minutes left to play here in the first half. Tuttle knocking on the door again. Loose football. Lost it. Do believe he did get on top of it again, though. Recovered back there by Cole Battles. But now the clock will continue to run.
And he tried to pick it up and make something out of it at first, but then feeling the pressure, seeing the defense coming his way, does the smart thing, just fall on the ball. Don't try to keep picking it up. Just fall on it. That way your team still has possession. Maybe you lose a couple yards out of it, but that's better than losing possession.
Battles this time. Handoff left side. True Love bangs his way through, gets inside the 30-yard line down to about the 28. And now we're going to get a stop and play, and it's going to be a Tuttle Tiger timeout with 1:06 left to go in this first half of play. Tuttle on top, leading it by a score of 21-0. And I want to say that Tuttle, even though they're only 4A, I believe they were a top 10 team in the country last year in wrestling.
And wouldn't be shocking to me. I mean,
and I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but the disparity from them winning and the team points that they accumulated was more than like the rest of the field combined. They just don't remember exactly how many state champions, but they cleaned up.
I saw something that said it was like 187. I may be wrong on these numbers, but 187 was their team score, and then like the next highest was like an 87.
Right.
And then from there it was like 20s and 30s or something. So it was a huge difference. I mean, they are just dominant on the wrestling mat.
The longest that I'm aware of was El Reno wrestling back in the probably late 90s, early 2000s when Arch Randall was there and the head coach at El Reno. And he has since moved on to Oklahoma City University, and I don't know if he's still there or not, but yeah, they won 10 straight state championships in a row. Talk about building a program. Pass play, going to the right corner. Ball is up, caught. Great catch, great throw. Defender was there, but they still could not stop the pass from getting to Joseph Yarborough. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Tuttle Tigers.
And it looked like that cornerback just kind of mistimed his jump, and you'll see it right here. Also, we got to mention how great that placement was. Again, putting it out on that back shoulder where just his receiver can get it. That's tough to do. I mean, that's high-level, next-level stuff right there. A great throw from quarterback Cole Battles, and another touchdown on the board. We're looking at 27-0 before halftime. Man, if Newcastle can't get anything going in this second half, it's going to be an ugly one by the time that final whistle blows.
Well, and a lot of people obviously were hoping Newcastle would be able to give a nice equitable effort to keep the score close. So we've got an injured player again down with cramps on the far side. You can see him right there by the pylon at the top of your screen. And that's why all the players have taken a knee, because he still is within, not in the field of play, but just beyond that. And again, it's going to be cramps, this time getting up Zachary Roberts. Let's get out the pickle juice, man.
Absolutely. That's the old trick, isn't it? I think a lot of these guys are probably just getting out of football season and then drinking all the juice that they can and soda as they can, and then all of a sudden it's back to it and it's hot outside and I haven't drank any water.
Yeah. Now
you're out here playing a real deal football game, and guess what? I've got cramps all up and down my leg.
So in for the extra point attempt once again is Bryce Legg. The snap is back. The kick is away. Got underneath that one. It hits the upright. It's no good. That's about the first mistake they've made all night here this evening. But we still have just under a minute left to go in the first half. All Tuttle, the Tigers on top of Newcastle. They lead it by a score of 27-0 on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Back at Hinkle Stadium, our entire crew out here for your view, your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Another touchdown for the Tuttle Tigers. Missed the extra point, but still have a lead over Newcastle by a score of 27-0.
Man, anytime you talk about the Tuttle Tigers, you got to bring up Jason White. That's always the big talking point, but even now a little bit more of a current player is Blake Jarwin.
Right.
Went to OSU, walked on there. Actually, he only had about 7 receptions in his senior year in high school. Walks on at OSU, ends up getting some playing time there in his junior and senior year, and then goes undrafted into the NFL, gets picked up by the Cowboys, and now we're talking about he may end up being, one of the top 10 tight ends in the game.
Yeah. Speaking of top tight ends in the game, of course, George Kittel played his high school ball at Norman. His dad was an assistant coach on Bob Stoops' staff. I think they left, and then he ended up playing football at Iowa, I believe, did Kittles. But, boy, he has turned into a great tight end in the National Football League. Make sure you get him on your fantasy team this year, Dylan.
Yeah, what it sounds like to me is Oklahoma is just the top-tier producer for tight ends is what it is.
Yeah. And they don't do too bad in quarterbacks either.
Yeah, we're pretty good at turning out a few different players. I think we got a lot of offensive linemen that are coming out that seem to be pretty good. I know that Tuttle had one a few years back that's at OSU, and he got recognized as Scout Player of the Week or something like that. And he looks like he may be able to fit into the lineup here pretty soon. And then Andrew Rame from Broken Arrow going to OU. Bray Walker's at OU. He's from Westmore. A lot of different players that are coming out of high school are big-name offensive linemen.
Pass to the near side, and a flag comes out. Might have been a personal foul. I don't ever think he had the football, and he was still trying to throw him down. Stops the clock with just about 10 seconds left to go before halftime, so we might have one more snap before our halftime presentation comes your way. Don't forget to join us next week. It'll be Seminole at Hera.
And that one on paper looks like it'll be an interesting one to watch. We'll see if it's going to be ugly or if maybe Hera's got a little bit of a change in their game and in their style and maybe get a couple of wins. But Hera went on winless last year.
Yeah.
And so a tough season for them. Seminole finished 8-4. So it's definitely going to be a topic of conversation this year is can Hera find a way to win some football games this year?
Could be the final play of this first half. As the Newcastle coaching staff, it looks like they're just going to let the clock run out and call it a half and head to the locker room and try to regroup and reorganize. Or maybe not. Looks like they're going to
they're going to convene for this last play, maybe try to make a shot at the end zone here.
Boy, if you're Tuttle, you got to be looking for something really wacky, don't you?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we've already seen a jet sweep. We've seen those quarterback fakes between a pass and then he tucks it and starts running, or those screen passes out, different styles of screen passes. So definitely got to keep on your toes if you're this Tuttle Tiger defense. You can't let this 10 seconds catch you off guard or catch you on your heels because you'll give up a big play to the Newcastle Racers.
Every time I hear the term jet sweep, reminds me, and I don't remember what year it was, but it was the year that Sterling Shepard and Barry Sanders Jr. were at Heritage Hall. And I want to say Sanders Jr. got hurt, and they really didn't have a quarterback to run, and they ran the jet sweep with Shepard left and right probably 15 times in that contest, and it worked all night long. And they went on to become state champion. Of course, they're favored once again this year to bring home another gold ball. Brent Bogert taking over for his father, Andy Bogert, several years back, and they have continued the winning tradition there at the Hall. Short pass over the middle behind the intended receiver that's incomplete. Clock stops. Still got time for about one more play.
Yeah, see, that kind of is an interesting play call there. Maybe just a quick curl route there. But with 10 seconds left, I'd imagine you're going to let that thing fly and try to get to the end zone, but instead they're going to make the decision to go for a short pass instead.
Rolling out to his left, looking downfield, stops, plants, fires, far side of the field. Pass is incomplete. Still a little bit of time left on the clock, and perhaps one more effort to try to make something happen here. They got close once and missed a field goal, and then the other time at the very end of a long play, they got inside the 10-yard line but fumbled and lost it. And Tuttle took it down and scored with it. Otherwise, we'd be looking at a bit of a closer game.
And that's the most momentum I had seen Newcastle have all game, was that one possession where they got all the way down there and just kind of killed it all with that fumble.
Keeper, quarterback trying to make something happen. Picks up some nice yardage, but unless there's a flag on the field, that will be the final play of our first half. And everybody quickly jumps up and heads their way to their respective locker rooms. It's all Tuttle after one half of play here in Tuttle as they lead Newcastle 27-0, our score at halftime. It's your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week here on YourView. We'll come back with more for you. Stay with us.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
The Gigablast Halftime Show, powered by Cox, is brought to you by your Oklahoma Ford dealers, the best in Oklahoma. Airco, the company you know. Tulsa Tech, for your future success, go to tulsatech.edu. And by Weoki Credit Union. Join us all fall long for some of the top high school football from around the country on Game Time.
And welcome back, everybody. There you see our halftime score. The Tuttle Tigers owning it in the first half of play as they were able to really impose their will upon the Newcastle defense. And defensively, Tuttle did a great job in bottling up Newcastle as the Tigers lead it here at the halftime intermission by a score of 27-0. Dylan Rivera is alongside. Let's take a look at some of those first half highlights to see what got us to our point in the game that has Tuttle on top, leading it by a score of 27-0. Here you go. Very first touchdown.
Yeah, that first touchdown was just a handoff to True Love right up the gut. I talked about that pistol full house formation. Let those two fullbacks kind of lead him in, and he just finds the right hole, finds the right gap, plugs himself into the end zone.
One of two TD passes coming up next here as you're going to watch the quarterback Cole Battles go downfield this time and really puts a nice throw right on the money as he was pretty much on target throughout most of the first half, as Battles is going to hook up for a touchdown as we take a look at the highlights here. As you can see the band marching on the field.
Yeah, he had more than one of these types of throws, and you'll see the other one here in a minute, where he's put it on that back shoulder where just that receiver can get it. And, man, that's a tough thing to do. I told you that was next level, and that's what that is putting it on that back shoulder. That's next level, putting it to where those cornerbacks and those safeties can't get to it, and only that receiver can reach it.
And then the next highlight coming up for us that we're going to see here in this game between Tuttle and Newcastle, where our score is 27-0 right here. As you see, the Newcastle band is outperforming at the halftime intermission. And looks like we have a little logistical issue getting the highlights your way, but we'll try to effort that as we continue here throughout our halftime. That has, of course, Tuttle leading Newcastle by a score of 27-0. Newcastle did have an opportunity. They missed a field goal, and as we mentioned earlier, they did have a long completion that got down inside the 10, I believe it was, Dylan, but fumbled at the end of it, turned it over, gave it back to Tuttle. That's as close as the Racers have been able to get on the board.
Yeah, that, and then we talked about what might have been one of the biggest plays of the season right here on 0 week, that pass that almost connected with Jake Cox down there within the 5-yard line. Would have been a one-hander falling down, and I've been throwing around this word momentum a lot. But I tell you what, man, that would have been momentum right there.
All right, 27-0. Tuttle on top of Newcastle is our score. As you enjoy the performance by the Newcastle Marching Band, we'll take a timeout, continue our coverage on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week right here on Your View.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me when he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Ladies and gentlemen, entering the field is the multi-award-winning Tuttle High School Tiger Pride Marching Band. Directed by Seth Lucy and Dr. Cindy Craig, led by John Majors, Addie Childers, Luca Carr, Zane Vasquez, and Brody Helsel. The Pride of Tuttle's 2019 competition marching show is called Metamorphosis. The music takes us on a journey through personal growth and change. The conflicts and tough times in our lives help us shape who we are. This show features music from The Greatest Showman, classic hit Stand By Me, and Mad World. So sit back and relax as the Tiger Pride performs the first movement of their show, Metamorphosis. Drum majors, is your band ready?
Okay, welcome back, everybody. As now you can see during our halftime presentation, the Tuttle marching band has made their way onto the field. And, of course, we always like to give them a little of the airtime as well, as much a part of the Friday football experience as the players and the coaches themselves. We talked about some of the highlights. We got those glitches worked out, we hope. So let's take a look and see how Tuttle got to this 27-0 lead. And, of course, Tristan Truelove with that first touchdown.
Yeah, going back to it again, up the gut. Tough run from him, plows through a couple of defenders, puts the first 6 points on the board.
And then after that, they're going to go up to the air. This time, the quarterback, Cole Battles, is going to throw the ball downfield and get it in for the touchdown.
Yeah, this one right there on that right side, puts it out there where only his receiver can get it. Number 1, Joseph Yarborough with his first touchdown of the day.
And then Tuttle again going to strike for their third touchdown. This one's going to be a pass to Mason Stokes. This looks like a Newcastle highlight here as they're running down the far side. Pushed out of bounds, but one of the bigger gains in that first half for the Racers was getting them into scoring position, at least for the time being. And then we take a look as Battles is going to go downfield, and this time it is the pass to Mason Stokes.
Yeah, it looked like the quarterback Schumard kind of left in the dust there on defense. Stokes just blew past him. It's just him in the end zone at that point. Put it right there in him, and he's got a touchdown.
Newcastle with the football, trying to make something happen. This was the catch you were talking about, almost catch earlier.
Yeah, just a hair away from pulling that in, and man, that would have been something crazy right there. I might have jumped out of my seat if you had caught that one. You might have had to restrain me a little bit,
right,
Steve. That would have been a fun one to watch.
And then later, touchdown again. It's going to be the same two guys again. Cole Battles finding Joseph Yarborough once again.
Yeah, and going back to it again, right there on that back shoulder. Just squeezes past that pylon before getting knocked out of bounds by a big hit there from Zachary Roberts. But, man, he does a great job of putting it on that back shoulder, does Cole Battles, and a touchdown from Joseph Yarborough makes it number 2 for him in just the first half.
So there you have it. 27-0 is our score. Tuttle on top of Newcastle. It's 0 week, week 0, if you will, the opener for the 2019 high school football season. And Tuttle has the best of it to this point. They lead Newcastle by a score of 27-0. We'll take a timeout, get ready for second half action. You stay with us.
For my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back to your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week here on Your View. Tuttle leading Newcastle 27-0. My partner Dylan Rivera is standing by, and he has some scores for us as well.
Yeah, via the Squirtle app. I'm going to give them their shout out, their due diligence out there, all those fans that keep those scores updated. First of all, we talked a little bit about those Texas matchups between a lot of those east side, big schools over there. Bixby at Mansfield Timberview right now. It's 49-26, and that's just about to start the third quarter. Bixby leads that one. And this one's kind of interesting. Union at Mansfield Lake Ridge. Again, that one is also in the third quarter. And Mansfield Lake Ridge, 27-21. They have the lead right now over the Redskins. Coming back into the state of Oklahoma a little bit, Nathan Hale, 47-0 over Daniel Webster right now. That one's just in the second quarter. So we talked about this one being a little ugly with this 27-0 score. That's really ugly. Looking at Mounds is up 15-6 on Porter. Porter consolidated.
Do you see anything for Edmond North and Yukon?
Edmond North and Yukon. See if I can find anything on that. I may have to refresh.
I think that's the only 6A battle that was going on in the state tonight, and then also Altus and Cash, if you can find a score.
I did see that one. Let's see if I can find it again. There it is, Altus and Cash. Altus at Cash. That one is in the third quarter, just 3 minutes left, and it is 23-20. Cash has the lead.
Wow, good game.
Yeah, that one's definitely a close one that you need to keep your eye on. But definitely don't leave our broadcast to go keep an eye on it.
Absolutely not.
Gotta watch ours as well. Anything else interesting? I guess maybe Nowata at Oklahoma Union. That one's 12-12 right now in the fourth quarter, so that one's going to be a interesting finish, a fun one to watch for sure.
All right, so there you have some of the scores. Halftime show is brought to you by Gigablast from Cox. You can look that up and find out more about that, as you can have multiple resources, all getting the same high-speed internet when you get Gigablast from Cox. We'll take a timeout, come back not too far away from second half action between Newcastle and Tuttle.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, both teams making their way back on the field. Tuttle's already out there. A throng of people just filled this place here at Hinkle Field. Brand new turf for the first time, going with the artificial surface, moving away from the natural grass fields that they'd had for so long here. And the Tuttle Tigers, they like this new field. They've never given up any points in a game on this field.
Absolutely right, yeah.
27-0 our score as they lead Newcastle. And I don't know, not real surprising to see Tuttle get off to this start the way that they played. They are the defending state champions. Newcastle 3-7 on the year last year, but trying to rebound and trying to build the future there for the Racers. And right now, this is what we're looking at, a 27-0 score.
Well, I would say that although they won the state championship last year, the year before they just finished 6-5. So I don't want to say that it's a lock that they'll be just as good this season. Because it may have just been one of those one-year wonders where they just go out and win it all, and then the next year they go back down to, a subpar, just maybe a little bit above average team. Not that I want that to happen to them or anything, but you never know. And that was one of the big question marks coming into this season is, are they going to be able to hold up and defend their state championship? And obviously we talked about Carson Berryhill a couple times, and he was a huge part of this team's success last year. And now having Cole Battles play that quarterback position instead, it kind of changes it up a little bit and makes it a little bit interesting coming into this season as to how Tuttle will do this year.
Well, they're off to a good start as they lead Newcastle by a score of 27-0 here at the halftime intermission. And we'll get ready for second half kickoff here in a bit. Try to recognize all the players that are out there tonight for both of these squads. The offensive line obviously doing a very good job for Tuttle. Corbin Graham up front, along with Brendan Dooner, also Colin Naney and Kaya Wong, and also Dylan Cummings are the big guys up front that have done such a fine job for the quarterback, Cole Battles. Tristan Truelove, we've mentioned him several times as he's been able to find his way into the end zone. Parker Ross hasn't been much of a factor here from the receiver position. He caught 49 passes for 890 yards and 10 touchdowns last year, but he's been able to hook up with Joe Yarborough for 2 touchdowns, and also with Mason Stokes, very talented wide receiver on that squad that has Tuttle on top, leading it by a score of 27-0.
Yeah, and Parker Ross was one of those players that I said before the game that you're going to need to keep your eyes on. He's definitely going to kind of get into the mix. But at the same time, like you said, we haven't heard much from him today. Maybe those defensive backs that are getting blown by Stokes and Yarborough are those 2 and 3 center backs, whereas that number 1 defensive back that Newcastle has is maybe on top of Ross and trying to shut him down. But I'm sure Ross is sitting pretty. He's got more than a handful of college football offers coming his way, and a good year this year. He may be looking at another handful and maybe committing this year to a bigger school.
The defense last year only allowed more than 2 touchdowns twice all of last year. They've got 7 returning starters on the defense. Zane Vasquez had 118 tackles, 13 for loss last year. We mentioned Luke Serber, also one of the linebackers, along with the quarterback, Bodie Brooks. Free safety is Ethan Paxton. He's a junior, had 6 interceptions, 84 tackles last year. And those are some of the standouts that we've seen here this evening as we try to familiarize ourselves with everything that is football. High school football tonight. Also some select college games going on this evening. More tomorrow, and then, of course, the Oklahoma Sooners get ready to do battle on Sunday night versus the Houston Cougars.
Well, one thing that I said about that game that's going to be really interesting is seeing how De'Eric King plays, the quarterback for Houston. I think he is top talent for sure. I mean, he can really pick up yardage, whether it be on the ground or in the air. So he's one of those dual-threat quarterbacks, and OU's going to have their hands full, especially with that defense that they run down there at OU. Hopefully Alex Grinch makes a big difference, but
surely it's gotten better.
Yeah, that's the hope. Fingers crossed. You know, they'll get a big test that first weekend.
All right, here we go. Tuttle to kick it away to start second half action. Newcastle going to field it at about the 8-yard line. And trying to find some running room and just reversing field and losing yardage all the way back to about the 15. Number 3 on the return for the Newcastle Racers as he is able to get it out part of the way, but not the entire way, and finally taking down Jake Cox, the receiver, who we've talked about a lot tonight.
And that's one of those things that my dad likes to yell at the Cowboys for, is he says at some point you got to go forward, you know. Right there he just kept running parallel. At some point you got to go forward. You got to get some yards there. He had some blocks, so if he had just made an effort to maybe start heading the right direction, he could have gotten, 15 yards maybe out of that kick return, but instead maybe just a handful as he starts running towards that sideline.
Handoff. Little hole up there. Going to get about 4 yards on the carry. Tackle made by number 62, Carson Canaday, for the Tuttle Tigers after a short gain. Referee stops the clock as we have another player down for Newcastle, one of the linemen, and again, you hope it's just the cramp situation. It was at that right guard spot where Lyndon Evans, who left the game earlier. So we'll take a timeout as they tend to him. We'll come back, continue our action on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week on Your View. Stay with us.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back, everybody, as we are ready to get back underway here. Cramps have shown up quite a few times so far here early in the contest, and I'm sure we've not seen the last of it either. Newcastle with the football, looking at a 2nd down and 6. Fake the handoff, and then he is smothered, taken down, and a great tackle. Number 45 for the Tigers. That's Braden Nix, 5'9", 198-pound senior. He was not fooled on that misdirection play as he grabbed the ball carrier and slammed him to the turf.
And he got straight through that offensive line, and that was one of those things that I had mentioned earlier on, is that offensive line is really going to have to do a better job picking up those blitzing linebackers. I said the running backs in specifics, but especially these offensive linemen should know better than to let those guys through there.
So now 3rd and 6. See if the Racers are able to put something together here. Short pass led the receiver. Incomplete is the call. Umpire looked at it for a second. I initially thought that it had hit the dirt, or in this case the artificial surface. And in fact it did, and that'll bring up a 4th down in a likely punting situation.
Yeah, not a bad play there. If that's just maybe a couple inches up higher, that's a completed pass, possibly a 1st down right there. So a good attempt, a good throw, just a slight bit off target. I mean, in the slightest.
It's a little bit underthrown there. So, punting situation. Kicker stands at about his own 7-yard line, gets it away. Good kick, going to be taken at the 49-yard line in Newcastle territory. On the return, number 24 takes a big hit on the far side. Good job by number 13 for the Racers, Cruz Vargas. And Newcastle, rather Tuttle, will start with some pretty good field position inside the 35 at the 33-yard line in Newcastle territory.
Well, we've seen for a handful of years this Newcastle team kind of struggle a bit. Back in 2015, 1-9. 2016, 1-9. Then Jeff Brickman comes in. They go 3-7 over the last 2 seasons. That's 3-7 each. So he's at least getting the ship slightly righted, but he's still got a lot more work to do. And judging by how that first half went, it's still a big way away from where he wants to be, I'm sure.
Running play to the right side, lowering his head and delivering the hit there. On the carry was Tristan Truelove. He gets it down to about the 25-yard line.
But how about Tegan Jordan making plays on both sides of the ball right there? He was the one that came up with the tackle. Tristan Truelove still picks up a lot of yardage, though. It'll be a good-looking second down here for the Tuttle Tigers.
Truelove is number 28 in the backfield. And the quarterback, Cole Battles. They give it to Truelove, and he'll get the first down and then some inside the 20-yard line down at the 19. And the Tigers right now just pushing Newcastle over.
Yeah, right there, that's the case of the lower man wins. Truelove was lower and just kind of carried him for a couple of yards before it looked like he may have just kind of got tripped up. But otherwise, I mean, if he's got his balance there, that's a truck and then possibly more yardage. So
Battles sets up office deep inside Newcastle territory. Handoff. This time goes to number 23. He stepped out of bounds. That is Parker Ross, who we talked about at halftime. Hadn't seen him much. There he is on a little bit of an end-around type play. Stepped out of bounds, and they're going to mark him down at the 16-yard line.
Well, and I wonder if maybe it's just he hasn't been so much a part of the game plan. I talked about, maybe it's one of their better defensive backs is on him, or maybe it's just coaches found other ways to put points on the board and hasn't quite found a way to get him the ball.
Truelove wrapped up in the backfield. Good play defensively there. Evans in on the tackle, also coming up off the bottom of the pile, number 20, Jason Wilson. No running room that time. Maybe one of the better defensive plays of the night that we've seen from Newcastle, actually getting him right about the line of scrimmage. Definitely no gain on the play. As Tuttle sends two receivers out far to the right side, bottom of your screen. Battles looks over the defense, takes the snap, drops to throw, fires, corner. Did he stay in bounds? Looks like he did, and if so, it's a touchdown. Another touchdown for the Tuttle Tigers, and once again, it's Joseph Yarborough with his third touchdown of the night, and another great throw. Cole Battles right on time.
Yeah, count them up. 1, 2, 3. Joseph Yarborough gets his third touchdown of the day, and that's a hat trick in European football.
There you go.
So right there, another touchdown throw from Cole Battles. That one kind of a shorter one, and a little bit of looked like maybe of a in-and-out route. Finds the pay dirt.
Extra point is good, and so Tuttle has increased their lead now. They lead it 34-0 over the Newcastle Racers. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back and continue our coverage on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week right here on Your View.
Tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Well, the Tigers pretty much doing what they did last year. They beat Newcastle by a score of 41-7. And right now, another touchdown, Newcastle touchdown, would give you the identical score. Newcastle hoping to bring some positives from this contest here this evening. But they just have not been able to put it together on either side of the football so far here. Tuttle after the touchdown, the third of the night for Joseph Yarborough, puts the ball in the air, taking it about the 7-yard line. Trying to get to the far side of the field, much the way he did last time. Run forward. Still can't do it, and he's going to be tackled inside the 10, all the way back at about the 7 or 8-yard line.
You can't keep running north to south. At some point, you got to go east to west. And, man, he's getting swallowed up back there, and they're not getting any return yardage and putting themselves in a hole when they just keep starting back here under their own 20. And now they're just going to have to try to dig out of it. But it's going to be a tough one here.
So the Racers will get the ball. 8:38 or thereabouts left to go here in this third quarter. Beginning of the high school football season in the state of Oklahoma. Welcome back. Handoff right side. No gain on the play as they gave it to Casey Porter. And again, Newcastle playing without their running back, who they were expecting a lot of. Solomon Granger suffered a knee injury, out for the year. Rushed for 784 yards last year, had 247 yards receiving. You know, and if you're at a 5A or a 6A school, sometimes you can weather that by losing one of your top performers. But, boy, you start getting down to the smaller classes and you lose somebody that's that key to your team. Those guys are hard to replace.
Yeah, and you never like to play the what-if game, but at the same time, you got to wonder if he was in this game, just how much of a difference would he have made? He was definitely a strong runner and would have been a big presence in that backfield for Newcastle, but instead it seems like they're having to let this quarterback try to pick up all the yardage on the ground. So it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Solomon Granger was out there on this turf.
Andrew Schumard is able to pick up some nice yardage, gets the first down. See how the Racers attack the drive now. Dropping back to throw, wants to go deep. Hoisted in the air, double coverage is down there in traffic. Unable to come away with the reception is Jake Cox. That one just hung up in the air a little bit too long.
And it got in between his two hands there. He almost had a shot at catching that one, but man, it's just been twice now that two really big plays were right there just on his fingertips, and man, it just fell short.
Incomplete pass stops the clock with just under 7.5 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. 2nd down 10 coming up for the Racers. Let's see how they want to play it. And once again, quarterback keeper. That's been their best play of the night, Andrew Schumard.
I just had to let out a little bit of an ooh under my breath because I didn't want to cut you off there, Steve. Justice Conway had a huge block right there. I don't know if you saw it. Just pancaked the linebacker that was coming in to make the play. Oh, man, that was a good block. I tell you what, if we can see that one again sometime later, I'll point it out to you. That was a big one.
See what they want to call here on 3rd and 6 now. Schumard drops the throw, gets the completion. Forward progress should be enough for the first down. They're going to mark it right there at the 34-yard line, which should be enough to extend this drive for the Racers.
Looks like they're going to maybe, yep, there it is. The chains are moving. That's a first down for Newcastle, and if they can keep making their way down this field just steady as can be, maybe we'll see a touchdown at the end of it, or at least some points get up on the board. And it was a tough start for them on this possession, as I mentioned earlier on. You know, being down there within their own 10-yard line, they had a big hole and a big way to climb. But right here now, making it out to about that 30-yard line.
Handoff to Porter. Porter has some running room. He's got first down yardage. Cuts it across the 45-yard line out to about the 46. And the Racers starting to put together a little offense here on the ground. And a nice run. That'll be good enough for a first down.
It almost feels like these guys are playing tag when they get the ball in their hands, because it's almost like they don't want to be touched, or they're playing two-touch maybe out there. Yeah. They're running away from defenders instead of embracing that contact and going through them at times, or maybe trying to find their lead blocker and chasing behind him and letting him do the dirty work. But instead, it seems like they're kind of just running away, and it ends up in these north-to-south situations, as I mentioned earlier. At some point, you've got to go forward.
1st and 10 from their own 46, and going way downfield again, trying to hook up with the receiver. And he's got it. That's going to be a pass interference, but I don't think it's going to matter. I believe it's going to be defensive pass interference as the pass is complete. Caught by Tegan Jordan. We'll have to check the call, but it looks like it's going to be 6 points for the Racers.
And I tell you what, we've been waiting on that all game. He's been letting them fly out there to Tegan Jordan, and right there finally comes down with one. The defender not even looking at the ball, so that's for sure going to be some defensive pass interference there, although his hands were in the air trying to say, look, I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Just leaning into him just a bit too much. But Tegan Jordan with a great catch, contested, puts two hands on the ball, takes off towards the end zone, and finally Newcastle's on the board.
Maybe give them a little momentum, as coming in for the extra point attempt is Zach Crook. 6'3" junior in for the extra point attempt for the Newcastle Racers. Snap is back, ball down, kick is on the way, it is up and it is good. So Newcastle gets on the scoreboard with 5.5 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. Still a lot of work to do. They trail Tuttle by a score of 34-7. We'll take a timeout, continue with more on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week. Stay with us.
A summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Well, Newcastle gets on the scoreboard with just about 5.5 minutes left to go here in this third quarter of play. Still lots of work to do as they trail Tuttle 34-7. But you can bet that the attitude has changed on the Newcastle sidelines. Now they say, hey, we protect our quarterback, give him some time. He can complete those passes downfield, and we can make a run at this, make a comeback. Tuttle has other ideas, though, I'm afraid.
Well, one thing that I saw on that throw that we haven't seen a whole lot of is he stepped up in the pocket and let it fly. We've seen a lot of him scrambling out and on the run letting it fly or getting contested because he's got all those defenders rushing up to him. And right there, he had plenty of time in the pocket. Like I said, steps up, lets it fly, and it's a beautiful ball to Tegan Jordan.
Kick is on the way downfield, going to be taken at the 17-yard line. Trying to find some running room, tripped up though. The return man, number 23, Parker Ross. Good open field tackle, and the Racers will go to work on defense to see if they can stop this potent attack from the Tuttle Tigers.
Ball at the 31-yard line. It'll be first down for Tuttle.
We talked about the state championship team here in Tuttle. It's been since 1992 since Newcastle was crowned champions. That was their only state title in football.
I think they went the next year as well, but lost to Oulagan. I actually called that game. New quarterback in there for Tuttle. Number 11 takes over, Jaden Seabold. Back in the early preseason, like right after spring ball had been completed. Really, both of these teams wasn't quite sure exactly who the quarterback was going to be. Probably more so Tuttle than Newcastle. Newcastle had an idea that Schumard would assume that role once again. But Seabold seeing some action here with the Tigers in control, seemingly, although Newcastle just got a touchdown, and there's a big hit as the defender stood him up and his teammate ran him over.
I don't know who it was that came in and made that big hit, but I'll tell you what, that defense, or the offense, is going to be looking a second time now if he's coming their way. He's going to do a double take if he sees that linebacker or cornerback, whoever it was that came in and laid the wood down. And they're going to be thinking twice of going his way.
That was a big hit. Does that make you think of Texas Tech in the middle of the football field?
Yeah, it's that exact same logo, isn't it? Just change the colors up a bit.
Yep. Running play left side. No, quarterback keeper. Seabold keeps it himself, and he's going to pick up about 7 yards on the carry.
We see those college logos getting used in high school all the time. I mean, I know Broken Arrow used to kind of run with that Missouri logo. We used to use that a lot. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I know these guys have the Gonzaga logo here, Altus or Cash, one of them does. See it a lot of those similar designs at least.
No sense in trying to recreate the wheel, right?
Exactly. Just use the same logo, change the colors a bit, now it's ours.
So the ball now at the 46-yard line. Checking out of the lineup for Newcastle, Arnold Portillo. Checking in looked to be Gage Marsh. High snap. Truelove takes the handoff, spins out of trouble. Now trying to get to the near side. Gets the block he was looking for. He's going to turn nothing into something. Finally hit out of bounds, but a nice gain in the play by Tristan Truelove.
How about that run there, Steve? You got to like that. Going out to the left side, spin back, cut back to the other way, find a defender. Oh, wait, I can't go up the middle. I'm going to have to juke, go out to the outside again. Now he's over here on this right sideline, picking up a good gain there. Great run by Tristan Truelove, and a great job reading where that defense is, seeing where his blockers are, and picking up the yardage.
Down now to the Newcastle 32-yard line. Just under 3.5 minutes left to go here in this third quarter. Tuttle breaks the huddle. True Love in the backfield along with the quarterback, Jaden Seabold. Fakes the end around, gives the True Love straight up the middle. He gets a yard, two perhaps. And that'll bring up second down and long right at about the 30-yard line in Newcastle territory.
Did you mean to rhyme on that last one?
I really didn't.
No?
Sometimes it's just one of those natural gifts.
Yeah. Many talents does Steve Marshall have.
Most of them not worth much.
Top-notch foosballer.
Well, that's something else that's back there in the day. So at the 30-yard line in Newcastle territory, need to get to the 22 for the first down as Seabold takes the snap, gives to True Love. True Love fights his way forward, spins, breaks the tackle, gets loose, inside the 15 down to the 10-yard line. And Tristan True Love not going to go down on just one hit. He's going to keep spinning and hitting and fighting and getting all he can. Great effort there, great run.
I like how you started that explanation with spinning. I've seen him do a lot of spin moves tonight, and that one was just as valuable as any other one right there, picking up big yardage, and that was a great run from Tristan True Love.
Ross is in the slot, top of your screen. Now comes in motion. He'll take the handoff on the end around, and he'll get it inside the 5-yard line. As Tuttle trying to get that touchdown back that Newcastle scored.
I think that's just the second time we've mentioned Ross tonight. I mean, he's really just not been a big key to this game, which is really kind of interesting to me because, like I said, coming into the game, I think he was a player to watch coming in. And he had a big season last year, so the fact that he's been pretty mute tonight is a little interesting.
Seabold in at quarterback. Gives the True Love again, left side. Did he get in or did he go down first? Don't see a indication of a touchdown. Or yes, there is.
I see people jogging different directions, so I'm gonna guess that he got in there. Put a flag on the play. We'll see what happens.
That might be after the play and something that would be tacked on during the kickoff. As our referee comes to the middle of the field for the explanation. Got a feeling it's going to be against Tuttle, some type of celebration or taunting type penalty. It's actually against Newcastle. Oh, it's against both teams. So they mixed it up a little bit, perhaps in the end zone after the touchdown. Tuttle gets on the scoreboard, makes it 40. Or no, I guess he did. Oh, this is the replay.
Yeah, the replay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure he got in there. I never really saw that ball stretch across the white line there, but I mean, I guess that ref's got a better viewpoint than I do, so they're going to call it a touchdown, give him the 6 points, and as you mentioned earlier, if he makes this PAT right here, that's the exact same score we finished with in this game last year.
Minute 27, you can see the scoreboard right there. Left to go here in this third quarter. Tigers have controlled it throughout the entire ball game, and they continue to do so as they get the points and more flags come on the field now. And
yeah, he hit the kicker right there. He let that ball fly off his foot, and next thing you know, he's getting knocked to the turf.
Extra point is good. 41-7 our score. Tuttle on top of Newcastle. We'll take a timeout, come back with the kickoff here on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Back in Tuttle, Oklahoma, Bill Hinkle Field is where we are this evening. Happy to bring you all the action of the Tuttle Tigers and the Newcastle Racers. And Tuttle, the defending 4A state champion, on top right now, leading it by a score of 41-7, as Dylan pointed out. Exact same score that we finished with in this contest last year. And Something tells me we still have more points that are going to be scored in this game by probably both teams.
Can I just get a quick little footnote in there? I like that little funky music we played coming in on that one. We usually have those hard rock intros. That one has a little bit more of a funk to it.
You have to take it up with the executive producer back there, Mark Jeffries. He's an old school guy too.
Ball goes into the end zone for a touchback. We'll bring it out.
Kick goes into the end zone, so they'll bring it all the way out to the 20-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Racers. Kind of give you the split screen look there. As each and every year that we continue to bring you these live contests, always adding just a little bit extra, a little bit more every single year as the technology continues to improve, and we try to improve upon that as well.
Oh yeah, you got to love it as a fan. I mean, all it does is better your experience from home to be able to see this football game. And man, we got to love it right here from the broadcast booth.
Here's a short swing pass out to the right side. That's going to pick up about 3 yards, bring it out to the 23-yard line. What's the big buzz now? They've got some type of fancy Wi-Fi that's going to be at Gaylord Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. I'm not real up on all the new changes that they've made to the stadium. I know they've added like some railings too and stuff. All kinds of different stuff that they're doing there. Including beer being sold at the games now. Plenty of different changes going on around there, and I'm sure it'll just, as I said about our technology, same thing there. It's just going to better your experience as a fan.
Here's a running play to the right side. Nice hit on a good run there for number 13, Cruz Vargas, 5'9", 201, senior running back.
Man, how about that? You hit him so hard you give him a cramp. Lower man wins again right there. You get low. Put your shoulder into his legs there, take him out. Now look at this, he's having to be stretched out.
Well, we'll take a timeout, step aside, continue our coverage. 41-7, Tuttle on top of Newcastle at your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
The right connection can open a world of curiosity for your child. With Cox, families that have a K-12 student and receive government assistance could qualify for low-cost home internet with Wi-Fi. That means more learning and more achieving. Qualify now. It's time to connect with Cox.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me when he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back once again, everybody. Cramps, the story of the side story of the ball game, if you will. Getting somebody else, and boy, once you start getting them, you probably get them again a couple times during the ball game. So guys, stay hydrated out there. I remember kickoff this years ago, maybe 10 years ago. We were over at Norman, and at kickoff it was 104 degrees.
Jeez, 104.
It was brutal.
I can't even imagine trying to play a full football game, 104 degrees.
Swing pass to the right side. Nice catch, big hit. No forward progress whatsoever. Jake Cox that time caught the pass. Thought he was going to make a move, but he was dropped in his tracks. And he's going to be shy of the first down. Or are they going to give it to him? Nope, they're going to say he made it.
Well, but they told the clock to keep running, so that's going to create a problem with the clock.
Newcastle first down.
Oh, that'll be the end of the third quarter. That's why. All right, we have completed 3 quarters of play. Tuttle leading Newcastle 41-7. Racers have the football when we come back on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford SUVs. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Welcome back. Fourth quarter action just about ready to get underway. It is a new set of downs for the Racers. They'll have it at their own 30-yard line. And some score updates from our man, Mr. Dylan Rivera.
Well, one you mentioned earlier to me was UConn at Edmond North. I have a score update on that one. It says they are in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. Score is UConn 21, Edmond North 13. So that one's a big 6A matchup that's going on. One we just saw finish here in the studio. Cash 23, Altus 20, just barely topping out their Bulldog brethren.
Yeah.
And then Owasso at Bentonville West. Owasso 40, Bentonville West 34. That one's got about 8 minutes left in the game.
All right, here it's 41-7 as we start the fourth quarter. Newcastle with the football, looking downfield, and he's going deep. Got a receiver out there, and once again trying to hook up with number 14, Tegan Jordan. Defenders back there just not able to hold on to it.
And he's a little slow to get up, too, a little bit gimpy. Maybe pretty close to getting a cramp there, but not quite. We saw him get one earlier, so it's definitely possible if he keeps running these plays, getting plenty of PT. You can only imagine that those muscles can only take so much.
So the clock is stopped as we're just underway here in the fourth and final quarter. Tuttle has led the entire way, obviously. Newcastle just trying to work through and develop some success on offense as they look forward for their next couple of ball games. Of course, all this leading up to district play.
Well, one thing that's really interesting to me is that Newcastle finished up last year with a 56-7 win over Elgin. That was the largest margin of victory that they had since 2013 against John Marshall. So finishing out the season on such a good note, you had to think they were going to go into the off-season ready to get to work and try to build off of that. And then, of course, the luck of the draw, they end up with another first game matchup against Tuttle. And you play the state champions, you got to come with your best. And obviously today Newcastle hasn't played quite at their best, and a 41-7 scoreline with still just over 10 minutes to go.
Of course, some of those bigger matchups that we're familiar with on the west side of the state, the Moore War, the crosstown clash between the two Norman schools, that will take place next week. And so they still have another week of practice. A lot of those guys scrimmaging either yesterday or today, perhaps even tomorrow, as they get ready for their opener next week. 4th and 5, they're going to go for it. Quick pass, caught by Jordan. Did he get out in front? Boy, that's not a very good spot, I didn't think.
No, that sideline judge was a little off, probably about a whole yard off, to be honest with you. And they got the correct call, and it'll be first down here for Newcastle.
Originally, they spotted it at the 40, so he got about an additional 2 yards.
Yeah, it looked like the umpire right there in the middle of the field was saying it is a little bit further this way.
Keep this going and keep this drive going for the Racers.
One of my buddies down there at OU is a Norman High grad, and I'll tell you what, man, he doesn't like anything Timberwolves. So going back to that crosstown clash you were talking about, man, I like to give him a hard time and mess with him about the Timberwolves.
Long pass downfield. Guy had a receiver, and Cox just unable to get there. Tough pass again, running to his left and throwing right-handed is not an ideal situation, but it did look as though he had time to stop and plant, even if it was a brief bit.
You got to imagine if he was just slightly more accurate on these long balls, what the score would look like. I mean, there's been 4 or 5 different scenarios now where he's just barely overthrown it. I mean, if you pull it back even just like a yard or so, that becomes a catchable ball, and now you're talking about, 40, 50-yard gains.
Out of the shotgun once again, Schumard, the quarterback, drops the throw. Now turns and runs to the right side, still looking for a receiver, can't find one, will lose a couple of yards on the play.
And it looked like that was just the perfect defense for the correct call on offense. I mean, it was a curl flats route for most of the receivers there. I don't know if all of them were running a curl flats, but it looked like all the ones that I was seeing, it was just a curl route about 10 yards out. But it looked like the defense was kind of in that cover too, so it put a lot of those linebackers and defensive backs right there about 10 yards out. So leave the quarterback out to dry, and that's about all he can get is just run out to the sideline.
So 3rd and 12 coming up for the Racers. Still a lot of time to play and work some of these kinks out for the Racers and their offense. Quarterback draw, good call right there. He's already shown that he can run. He's going to get out close to midfield. Needs to get into Tuttle territory to their 48-yard line. Going to be about 3 yards shy of the first down, but that makes it a lot more tolerable on what should be a 4th and 3 situation coming up.
I'll tell you, at this rate, it's going to be a 1,000-yard season for Schumard on the ground because, man, he's run all over this Tuttle defense, and I can tell you if he's running all over the Tuttle defense, one of those other teams at 4A, he's going to be going all over them.
So 4th down play coming up. They've had a lot of success with that quarterback draw. You wouldn't think they would run it back-to-back plays, but apparently they did get Tuttle to bounce across early. Wait for the official call. That is the case.
That'll give Newcastle a first down.
That's the first time we've really seen that Newcastle tried to get that hard count. Of course, I don't know that they've really been in that situation where they're only about 5 yards away from that marker. Seems like every time there's a 4th down, they're 15 plus away. But right there, a great job using the snap count, getting them to jump off sides. And you got to imagine Tuttle thinks they probably figured this quarterback out at this point. 4th quarter, only put up 7 points on the board. You got to think they're thinking, we know what he's going to do. We know when he's going to snap it. And right there, caught off sides.
Now retreating in trouble, and he'll just dump it out of bounds there. As Tuttle came on the blitz, not enough guys to pick it up. And there was no way he was going to be able to stop and get a good throw off, so wisely just threw it out of bounds. Seminole at Hera is our game for you next week on Your View, your webcast home for Cox Communications. Tonight coming to you from Tuttle, America, taking on their Tri-City rival, the Newcastle Racers, of course also made up of Blanchard. When you think about those Tri-City schools, Blanchard, another football power in Class 3A. I know they won a couple of state championships, and they're now also in 4A as that area continues to grow. Dropping the throw, quick toss. Oh, he had it and lost it.
That was one of those where you can't really tell if he had possession of it or not yet, and I wonder if the ref just saying, well, it's 41-7, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He looked like he had 2 hands on it, started to turn into a runner. That's one of those discussions they have in the bigger divisions of football in college and in the NFL. When did they become a runner?
Yep.
And right there, that's one of those situations where when did he become a runner? And a ref says, well, he wasn't quite a runner yet. He's still a receiver, still pulling that ball in. And so it just falls to an incomplete pass, and I'm sure Tuttle's a little upset with that call.
Schumard, the quarterback. 3rd down and 10 for the Racers. Porter in the backfield with Schumard. Quarterback going to keep it. Come to the near side of the field. Tries to pick up more yardage. Instead of running out of bounds, they'll keep the clock rolling as he gets it down to about the 37-yard line.
And he comes up holding his arm, and of all arms, it's his throwing arm. And he's got 2 of them, and it's the bad one. That's the one you don't want. It looks like he's going to maybe stay in. I don't know if the coaches are going to try to pull him.
37-yard line.
Tell he's hurting a little bit.
You can tell he's not comfortable.
And they're going to take a timeout and talk about it as they're looking at a 4th down and 2 situation. 7:49 left to go here in this final quarter of play. Tuttle leads it. They are on top of Newcastle by a score of 41-7. We'll take a break on your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week.
Tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me when he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Now, come on, Dylan. That's a lot better music than the last intro that we had.
I mean, I like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I just liked a little bit of a change of pace. It was a little bit of a funky intro.
See you over there banging your head on the wall. 4th down and 2 for the Racers. Big down here, still with 7:16 to play. Even though they appear to be out of the contest, they certainly want to be able to make these type plays when they're needed. Great effort as he'll get that 1st down. Could have given up there, but he just kept digging and does come up with the necessary yardage. Good job there by Jake Cox. He's been a busy man tonight.
And I talked about that defense having a problem giving up earlier on. Maybe something that Coach said at halftime says, you know what, we're going to go out, we're going to give it 110% effort right there. That was 110% effort and then some. I mean, he really could have gone down at any point there. One of those defensive backs had a hold of his ankle too. Breaks free of that, gets just enough for that 1st down.
New set of downs for the Racers at the 34-yard line in Tuttle territory. Straight give to Porter, and a nice job coming up and making the tackle, taking his feet out from underneath him. Number 50, C.J. Connor for the Tuttle Tigers.
Yeah, and 71 was supposed to be blocking him there. It looked like he came up to him just a little bit too flat-footed. He's got to come in quick on his toes, and Cole Clark could have had that block there, but instead gets beat. And ends up being just a 1-yard gain because his assignment gets past him.
So they give him a yard on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Schumard with Porter off to his left side. Get the weak side block, run it straight up the middle. Lots of running room inside the 15-yard line. Great job by the offensive line on that play as they really opened up a nice hole, and he ran right through it straight ahead and gets it deep inside Tuttle territory.
I think that's the best run I've seen from one of these Newcastle running backs so far today. For the most part, it's been Casey Porter handling the carries. And other than that one run where he ended up fumbling the ball at the end, I think that's the biggest gain he's had. And on top of that, he seemed like he really read the defense well and was able to make a couple of moves, make a couple of guys miss, find the right hole, and ends up right here within the 15-yard line.
Good chance for the Racers to get some other points on the board. Handoff right side. It's Porter again, this time inside the 10, down to the 13-yard line. Nice pickup again for Casey Porter. That's number 5 on the ground, writhing right there. That is Kyler Maples. That looks to be more than cramps.
It's Kendall Rogers.
Kendall Rogers, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
All right, we'll take a timeout, come back as they tend to him. Hopefully, again, it's just a cramp type situation. We'll return with Tuttle leading Newcastle 41-7.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me when he was deployed. I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
And moving off the field is number 5, Kendall Rogers. Hopefully, again, it's nothing too severe. And, well, you always hate to see somebody's season ended early on. I remember I coached a Little League quarterback, and it was the very first play from scrimmage, as he had to wait until he was a senior because the class in front of him was so good. In the very first pass play, he gets hurt, and his senior year was done, and that was it. No red shirt in high school.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. You look forward so much to that first game and that first snap, and man, to go down in those first moments in the early parts of the season, it's really frustrating, especially when you're one of those players that's really expected to get a lot of playing time and have a good year. That's got to be more than frustrating.
Yeah, such a good kid, and turned out to be a good businessman now, and see if we can get these guys back in these lineups. You never like to see anybody injured. Now we're looking at a 3rd down and 11 coming up for Newcastle. Under 5 minutes left to go. Porter set off to the left side. Throw towards the end zone, and it's broken up there. Tried to squeeze it in between 2 defenders. Couldn't quite get it there, and pass goes incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down.
I think part of it was just he was trying to get it to his number 1 guy there, number 14, Tegan Jordan. It seems like he always goes to him whenever he can, and right there maybe just trying to fit it into too tight of a window for him, but still going for Jordan anyway, trying to take a shot at that end zone, maybe get some points on the board.
So a 4th down and goal situation, even though they're on the 11-yard line. As Newcastle trying to get in the end zone for their 2nd score tonight. Dropping. In trouble, he throws it away, and the pass is incomplete, and Tuttle will get it over on downs. Good stand by the Tuttle Tigers on defense.
That's a great job by the defense, getting that pressure into the pocket, and right there just forced to throw the ball out of bounds on a 4th down. That's costly. We'll see if the flag makes anything different here.
And they're going to call intentional grounding. That adds insult to injury.
Against the Racers, that penalty is declined.
Because he really did. He had nobody to throw to.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I saw was maybe up at the top of the screen. Right. It looked like he had a wide receiver on a slant, but when you're getting pressured like he was, there's no way you're getting that ball there. Or at least if you are, it's not going to be a good pass and it's not going to be comfortable.
So the Tigers will take over with 4:27 left to go in the contest.
You got to imagine Tristan Truelove's going to get quite a few handoffs here on this possession.
If, in fact, he's even in the ball
looks
game.
like number 5's in there right now at the running back, Cannon West.
So Cannon West takes over at the tailback spot. The quarterback, again, is Jaden Siebold. Tuttle has this one well at hand as West takes the handoff. Fights his way forward, not much to get there. Well, for Tuttle, they look like they're maybe not in mid-season form just quite yet. Certainly some other things they need to work out, but they had the best of it tonight on the field against Newcastle. Newcastle did play a better second half than they did first half, so you can always look at that. There's a pass, but good defensive play coming up and making the hit right away, not allowing any additional yardage. Number 34 in on the tackle for Newcastle, and that is Connor Bolser.
And on the reception there, that was Dylan Ballard, head coach Brad Ballard's son.
So some of the other guys getting a chance to play. Here's Siebold as he takes it away from the running back, keeps it himself, goes over the right side. Late flag comes in. Maybe getting a little chippy out there.
How about that cutback from the lengthy quarterback there?
Yep. Plant that foot and go the other way.
A couple of guys miss. Maybe just got a shoelace tackle of them there.
Personal foul against the Racers.
It's like a personal foul against Newcastle. I didn't see it. Perhaps at the end of the play. And the big penalty will bring it all the way out to the 36-yard line. New set of downs, 1st and 10 for the Tigers with just about 3.5 minutes left to go.
One thing these players need to make sure that they do is soak up all they can at this high school football, because there's nothing quite like it. High school football, you got all your friends and family there at the game. people of your community, people you've grown up with, that you're playing with, or in the stands cheering you on. And it's nothing quite like that, because once you get off to college, it's a lot of people you don't know.
Right.
And then in the NFL, I mean, it's just random people within that city, right? So, when you're at the high school level, it kind of brings a whole community together, and you really just kind of get to enjoy being around people who you know and who you've grown up with, and playing alongside them or playing in front of them.
Handoff again as they give the ball to Cannon West. Straight ahead he goes. And this is a situation where if you're the backup running back getting some admitted mop-up time, that you don't want to fumble the football, because that will lessen your chances of getting this opportunity again. So West doing his best to protect the football and yet get some yards as well. Seabold going to roll to his left, throws. Pass is incomplete, in and out of the hands of the would-be receiver. Looks like he tried to get it to number 6, Blake Rogers there.
In and out of one receiver's hand. It looked like it was almost about to go into another receiver's hand.
Just about.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of interesting on that play is you're still passing the ball with, just over 2 minutes to go, a 34-point lead. I mean, I understand it was 2nd and 8, but at the same time, you could have put that on the ground.
Yep. It must be 4th down.
Yeah, it's 4th down. You can see the marker up at the top of the screen is 4.
Low snap, bobbled by the punter, does get it away. He's hit. Don't know if there's going to be a flag on that play or not. Hold on and see as the ball goes out of bounds at about the 39-yard line.
Yeah, if I'm Newcastle's special teams coordinator, I'm letting that kid have it. I feel like he could have gotten to that punter before that foot got to the ball. I feel like he could have either blocked it or recovered the ball in some way, shape, or form and given them better field position. Maybe give themselves a better opportunity to put some points on the board.
Maybe you can't call roughing if the ball, hits the ground first. I'm not real sure on that interpretation, but it doesn't look like there's any penalty on the play. Newcastle will get it, possibly their last possession of the ball game, and they'll set up shop at their own 39-yard line, 1st and 10.
Seems like a majority of their starters still out there trying to get some reps in against one of these top-tier defenses in 4A.
Brandon Ramsey, your slot receiver, number 1. Don't recall him seeing a whole lot of action. As Porter goes in motion, sets up behind Schumard. Keeps it himself. It's been a good play tonight. It's going to get about 6 yards out to the 45-yard line.
That looked like one of those RPOs that you see a lot in football nowadays. You kind of fake like you're getting ready to hand it off, kind of go with him, see what the defense is giving you, and then you make a decision whether you want to hand it to him, take off yourself, or let that thing fly.
Big number 56, Adam Solbach, checks in, 6'3", 245. On the Newcastle offensive front, high snap, does a good job to bring it down. Ball carrier gets it close to 1st down yardage, going to be less than a yard to gain on this upcoming play. Brings up a 3rd down and 1.
You can see the team buses in the background. I don't know if you remember at the very beginning of the game, that little police escort that Newcastle got in here. That was kind of an interesting touch to their entrance to the game.
Clock is running as we go under 1 minute left to go in the contest. The Racers looking at a 3rd down and 1 situation. Wouldn't mind to put 7 more back on the board. Running play, Porter straight ahead, gets the 1st down, but not much more than that. And looks like they'll have to snap it probably just one more time.
Ball at the midfield strike. 1st down, Newcastle.
Well, and a good first win to ring in the new season and the new turf here at Bill Hinkle Field. You got to be proud of a 41-7 finish as the Tuttle Tigers and make it now 15 games straight of wins. And Newcastle, obviously you got to go back to the woodworks and maybe see if you can fix it before next week. But not a terrible start, we'll say. It seemed like there was some glimmer of hope within a few plays, and right there is another one as you pick up the 1st down on a long run. Flag on the field.
Flag down.
So the game cannot end on a penalty, or at least they tell us that. Depends on who it's against, and got 12 seconds left to go as he was run out of bounds there. So either way, we still have another play left to go. It's going to be against Newcastle, it appears. After the attack, which way are we going? It's going to be against Tuttle. So Newcastle should get one more shot.
Personal foul against
At least one more
the ball at the 20-yard line.
before this contest is
First down
over.
for Newcastle.
And that was a big 15-yarder. So now right there at the 20-yard line, take a shot at this end zone. Doesn't seem too hefty of a price to get in there.
Schumard looking to throw. Instead fakes the throw and it hands off. And nothing doing there for Casey Porter.
Chris Black with the tackle.
And that's going to do it. That'll be our ball game here this evening.
With the final score,
So as it turns out, the Tuttle Tigers do in fact get the victory here tonight. The exact same score that it was last year as they defeat the Newcastle Racers by a final score of 41-7. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with our wrap-up. Shoot some late scores your way if we have any, and be back right after this TO.
Like a summer romance, a perfect tan, or a plate of ribs. Some things are just too good to last. Like 20% estimated savings on select Ford models. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. The final days of the Hurry Up and Save sales event end soon. So get here before pumpkin spice shows up in everything and these deals ride off into the sunset.
It's the last chance to get 20% estimated savings on select Ford F-150s. So hurry into your Oklahoma Ford dealer today.
Our tradition for my football team is we dress up, shirt and tie. I had a tie, but I didn't know how to tie it. Usually I would have my dad help me, but he was deployed. And I'm thinking, don't worry about it. My grandma should know.
He says, can you tie a tie? And I'm like, no. But we're on our way to Chick-fil-A.
I recognize them because they came into our store so much. Miss Bertha and Mr. Terrence, I'm like, of course, I'll help them out and show them how to tie a tie.
It wasn't just the tie, it's what was in your heart.
It's my pleasure. Doing good, man. You got it.
Welcome back once again, everybody. There's our final score. Tuttle defeating Newcastle 41-7 in your Oklahoma Ford Dealers Game of the Week here on Your View. Steve Marshall, Dylan Rivera, and the whole crew from Your View. Happy to bring the game your way this evening. Tuttle wins it. The defending Class 4A state champions show why, as it doesn't look like they have missed a beat too much. Still got a long way to go to duplicate what that team did last year. That was a very, very fine football team. Not to say that this Tuttle team won't be as good, but still early in the season, and we'll see how that plays out for them. Of course, let's take a look at the highlights here and see how we got to this final score. And the very first play, long play, and they end up giving it to Tristan Truelove.
Yeah, right up the gut. Plenty of defenders right there in the box, but he still manages to find pay dirt from that pistol formation I talked about. You got those two fullbacks right there. Let them take the lead, and you'll just follow suit.
Good night tonight for the quarterback for Tuttle, Cole Battles, as he had a couple of nice touchdown tosses.
Yeah, and this is the first of a couple that we have seen where he puts it on that back shoulder where only his receiver can get it, and man, that's something that's tough to do. And a lot of those younger quarterbacks need to be watching that and saying, hey, that's what I need to get to where I can do.
Joseph Yarborough on the receiving end of that touchdown, and then here's another big play coming up, and this time it's to Mason Stokes.
Yeah, Mason Stokes on this one just flat out beats the defender. He's wide open down that sideline. Just put it on him, and it's nothing but green grass in front of him.
Newcastle almost got on the board early. Let's watch this play here. Dylan had it. He was ready to call this the play of the year.
Yeah, I mean, if he had pulled that in, yeah, for sure. I mean, that would have been a massive catch. I mean, we would have seen that on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything you could think of.
ESPN maybe.
Yeah, he would have had that one. It would have been insane.
All right, so 21-0, and then right before half, Tuttle's able to score again. Another touchdown pass for Mr. Battles.
Yeah, again, back shoulder puts it right to where just his receiver can get it. A good hit there late from, I believe it was Zachary Roberts. But at the same time, a great throw, great catch, great touchdown.
That made it 34-0. Newcastle would later try to get on the scoreboard. Let's watch this one here first as the pass goes, and again, it's Yarborough. I think he had 3 touchdown catches on the night.
3 on the day, so I'm going to give him the unofficial MVP for this game. He came up big, a lot of big plays, whether it be those touchdown catches or even just in the middle of the field. He did a great job.
And then Newcastle's able to get on the board here with a big catch. And he takes it into the end zone. Number 14 for the Racers getting in. That was Tegan Jordan. And that made it 34-7. One more touchdown for the Tigers late in the contest.
Yeah, this one, I believe it was the handoff, to Truelove. And it looked like he was just shy, in my opinion. But then next thing you know, the ref comes running down that end zone line, hands in the air, saying, hey, that's a touchdown. Truelove gets his second of